Through the haze and the fog, a bright red beacon shines through. Maybe it's the nose of a beloved Christmas fixture. Or maybe it's the light at the end of the pit lane, ready to turn green as we get ready to watch the Rudolph 250. And you'll see it all live here on Podium Esports. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Looking forward to this one, DJ, and I've heard that a lot of the drivers are excited about this race too. I mean, having late models at a short track and a historic one, it can never fail.
No, it really can't, Joe. And letting these late models loose around North Wilkesboro Speedway, it doesn't get more iconic than that. This sort of asymmetrical circuit always seems to present some sort of challenge, some sort of interesting wrinkle into the racing, and I think today is going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, it certainly will keep them on their toes, that is for sure. And if we take a look at the track, of course, and take a glance at it, we'll see it pretty close to how it is in the sim itself, which is from 1987. So slightly different from the modern age. The pit lane is a little bit different from what you see nowadays in North Wilkesboro. And obviously a few of the stands and advertising boards are quite different out there as well. But this slightly more than a half-mile track, as we mentioned, most known for being asymmetrical, will be tricky. Let's go over the format as well, DJ, because I do like what they've set up here.
Yeah, as do I, Joe. It's going to be your traditional short track racing format. So we're going to have 15-lap heat races. The top two will advance on out of that. The top 16 will advance out of qualifying. Then we'll have a 20-lap last chance qualifier. Top four will advance out of that, and we will have 24 cars that make it here into the feature for the 250-lap feature. That's right, 250 laps around this historic facility. The big stories of the race, well, I'll start with that first one, Joe. It is temperature. 132 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface right now. That means these tires are not going to be cooking. They are going to be boiling like an overdone Christmas hen.
Yeah, it's going to be a big matter, I imagine, of holding on to those things, and has looked quite slippery from the practice. Also, it's a short track, and as you can see, it's going to be important to keep it clean. And then, like we keep mentioning, the difference in the track between each end means you have to stay focused, and you can't lose track of which corner you're going into, because they're going to drive entirely different on either side. They've also got 3 green-white checkers available to them, so if it winds up getting messy at the end, well, we could see ourselves with a few attempts at a 2-lap shootout to get to that checkered flag. Also, we have been told by race control that they have to keep it clean out there, because they will be getting a warning, they'll be getting an EOL, I should say, for the first cause of a caution. Second one, they get a drive-through penalty. Third one, they'll actually be disqualified from the race. So if that happens, expect drivers to start disappearing if we get too many yellows out there. That's pretty similar to what they have for the regular touring series that we usually cover, which will be back, of course, tomorrow night on Saturday when we go to Thompson. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Just about getting ready to start qualifying. So let's talk about the car here, DJ, because this is a recent addition to iRacing.
Yeah, it certainly is, but make no mistake, this is an absolute beast of a car. We are talking about over 500 horsepower coming from a naturally aspirated V8 engine. You've got a 4-on-the-floor H-pattern style gearbox, and there is a rear-wheel drive that you can use. Talking about 3 tons here out of the car, and it's pretty wide as it runs. It's based on the car's late model stock tour here that does run across the country, as you said, recently modeled here into iRacing. But the biggest thing to talk about, Joe, we mentioned about those incidents a little bit earlier and what can happen. These are big, heavy cars. The brakes are not really used for slowing down. They're much more tuned and tweaked to get the car to rotate. So if there's a problem in front of you, we're not going to see a lot of slamming on that middle pedal to try to get the car slowed down. You've got to almost just gun it and go through it.
Well, hopefully they won't have to do that too much out here today. But if they manage to be quickest of getting through it, in the end, there are some prizes that they're competing for, because it's been a $10 entry to get into this race, and it's $100 to the winner tonight. Second place gets $50 and third place gets $25. So the podium won't be spraying champagne, but definitely will have a little bit of extra spending money for Christmas gifts here once they leave the track. So as we wait for that session to tick on over to the qualifying, where they're going to be out there doing solo qualifying. So we'll get to watch and see how everybody fares and places themselves. That might wind up being important. It's a long race, DJ, but I mean, track position at this track, always important.
Very much so. Overtaking not the easiest around here, particularly considering the relatively low banking of only 14 degrees around this circuit means you really can't carry a lot of speed coming through the corners. And the other thing, Joe, is, well, as we talked about, the incidents that might be taking place in front of a couple of these drivers, they're going to have to be very careful. You're not going to want to get yourself in a position where you have got to worry about the drivers in front of you. You very much want to be at the pointy end of the field to be able to avoid any of those incidents that take place.
So they'll get 2 laps here for qualifying to set their quickest time. We should have Kyle Adams as our first driver out to try and set a lap. They'll be sending him here momentarily. Do love when leagues do this and make it more like real qualifying, in which not everybody is out at the same time, so we really get a chance to see what everyone has underneath them. So it looks like they are lining them up now. You can see the 24 of Kyle Adams just heading out. And something to watch out for, a lot of drivers have done special liveries for this exact race too.
Yeah, we'll be taking a look at a few of them there. As you can see, Kyle Adams with the podium logo on the hood of the car. Love to see that there from him. The number 24 going to bring that car out on track. And a nice little Rudolph, some snowflakes. Very much in the holiday mood here for Adams. He's going to bring that car around here down through 3 and 4. Going to get 2 laps here at this point. Little bit of a wiggle coming off of 4, but he'll try to keep it clean to go through the next 2 laps.
Kept it out of the wall. That's the important thing. If you do slam into the wall, you can invalidate your lap on iRacing. So you have to keep it from bouncing off that concrete. Remember, this is the 87 version. There's no safer barrier to try and ease that blow. First lap for him is a 19 flat. That's not quite what we were seeing in practice, but it has continued to warm up since the early moments of practice. So maybe the track is a little bit slower than what we initially saw.
Yeah, the track temperature has fallen a little bit. It's down to 129 degrees. Let's see here for Kyle Adams as he comes across the line for lap number 2. That's a 119.160. So not nearly as good for the number 24 on that second lap. And I wouldn't be surprised, Joe, if that's a story that we see continuing on throughout the day. Is I think that first lap is going to be the money lap, sheer only by the fact of just how hot it is and those tires are going to wear off.
I imagine the same thing, honestly. It wouldn't be too shocked if that wound up being how it played out, as downhill into turn 1. Keegan Bush is now who we're watching. So the marker set by Kyle Adams, a 19.026 that everybody is going to try and meet here initially. But we'll see if Keegan's quicker than that on his first time around. He's going to cross the line, and it is going to be a 19.234. That's significantly slower than Kyle's first lap.
Yeah, it really is, and I think a big part of that was the oversteer you saw Keegan trying to fight there going into turn 1. Really had to put some opposite lock into the car. Let's see if he's able to do a little bit better here on lap 2. We saw Adams fall off, but Bush is going to cross over the line. That will be an improvement. 119.159, still about a tenth and a quarter off of Adams, but a much better time on that second lap.
Up next, Steele Lankford will be our next driver, and it looks like he's already managed to get out on track in that number 33. So far, Kyle will stay on the pole after the first time around. Now, we are waiting to see if a few more drivers who have registered for this race will show up, but as it stands, 21 drivers are out there. We'll see if that number increases, because it's a maximum of 24 in the feature race. If we don't get more than a couple more show up, then we'll see everybody make it in.
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll have to see how that plays out here. Lankford going to come across the line. That's a 119.333, so still off the pace there a little bit for him. That's not going to be what he wants to see play. Let's again see if maybe this second lap's a little bit better for Steele. I didn't get a chance to look at the onboard, so I don't know how he's feeling. That slide coming off 4's not going to help him, though, as he'll cross over the stripe there for lap number 2, and that puts him up to the top of the charts, the first driver into the 18s.
Wow, he must have really been on top of the wheel on that one. I was with you. I saw that slide. I didn't think he was going to be all that quick, but no, he was very fast here on that one. Steele Langford now your new pole sitter, and Jared Schell will be our next driver to try and see if he can go faster. And nice thing about Langford, and I promise this is, or excuse me, of Schell rather, is that he actually has the sponsor of the event on his car.
Yep, yes he does indeed. He is JSR there for him, so very happy to have him on board. I think we may get a chance to talk to him a little bit later on in the run. First lap, though, for Jared, not going to be the best one there at the moment, 19.385. But as we saw from Steele Langford, still has some time to be able to roll on in here at this point. Let's see as he comes off of turn 4, going to cross over the stripe right now. It's going to be an improvement up to a 119.133. And still not close enough.
Yeah, he'll be on the second row after that, so he is up there, but we only have had 4 cars, so it's not looking good. Zach Wilson now that we are watching. He sends it up into turn 3. Been noticing a couple drivers doing this. There's a lot of marbles up there, but they still seem to feel that it's worth trying to open up the exit of that final turn for the first lap here, DJ.
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly trying to be able to do that. I want to give some credit here. Look at those metallic numbers on the 51. Really, really nice paint scheme there. I love to see that. And a little Christmas tree, a little wreath there for Zach Wilson. Can bring the car out of 4 right now. Let's see what the first lap is. That's good enough to be top of the pops.
Wow. And by about 12 thousandths of a second over Steele Langford. So he's not got the biggest of margins. We'll see if he tries to go quicker this second time around and extend it further. And he's not able to, but it is very consistent. In fact, perhaps 2 of the most consistent laps we've seen so far.
Yeah, only separated by about 75 thousandths of a second in between the two. So that's a really good call there for Zach Wilson. That shows that there's a lot of consistency in that car. Next up, though, Timmy Spatz going to bring the car out and around. Let's see what Spatz has got underneath him.
Yeah, Timmy out onto the track now, getting ready to start that first flyer. These qualifying sessions go quite quickly for these cars. And down into turn 1, Timmy trying to keep it right about down to that bottom line, exiting off, just diamonding the corner there, and you can see him fighting the wheel as we hopped on board briefly. It does look like these cars are a handful, even though it's open setup.
Yeah, they are very, very tough to control, and that's frankly just what you're going to get here in qualifying, as Spatz is going to go up to P6 on the charts at the moment. And I think part of the reason for that, Joe, is that you're just trying to make these cars as loose as possible during qualifying. Loose is fast.
Yeah, don't need those tires for long, and they're able to change the setups for the race itself. 19.157, slightly quicker, but only good enough for 5th place for Timmy Spatz. So second to last of those who have put a time down. And Kenny Storkson going to be our next one.
Storkson here, and that is a Christmas livery there. You can see it on the front doing a little bit of weaving. Now that's going to be allowed by the stewards, but they are under very strict qualifying scrutiny here at this point. Can't do a lot of brake dragging or anything like that. Storkson going to come across the line. He's going to start out here and bring that car down into 1 big bunch of opposite lock, though, coming through the corner.
He had a much wider entry than what we saw from Spatz there, so Kenny Storkson going to see if maybe that will give him a little bit better speed down through 1 and 2. Is much tighter down on the entry of 3 and 4. No, 19.2, the slowest we've seen so far. He's going to have to hope for a much better second lap. Let's see if he changes up his approach.
Well, I'm not exactly hopeful here. There was a lot of air between himself and that outside wall, not pushing the line nearly as much as I thought he would. The 57 going to come across the line. That will be an improvement, but he'll stay in P7.
11 thousandths off of Keegan Busch on that one. Disappointing for him. And Cryer is going to spin the tires up on the way out. Again, you are allowed to do that, using every trick he can to get the tires up to working temperature. It's a hot track, but yet it still seems important for them to get going, because it's, I mean, less than half a mile before they check the green.
Yeah, they've got to definitely try to get as much as they can into these tires before they go. Cryer right now going to come across the line and bring the car around here through one. A lot of little wheel movements there. That doesn't exactly bode wonderfully for Cryer. He still may be able to hold on to it and get a good lap here.
Oh, that car looks all out of sorts, though, out of 4. And it's an 18.8 in spite of that. You said loose is fast. That's very true for Cryer. He's our new pole sitter.
Wow, I did not expect that to come across the line like that. Joe Cryer, though, going to try to improve on his lap time here as he comes across. Looks like he's not going to be able to get anything there through Sector 1, but now he's going to come across the line. May have made contact there with the outside. Cryer not going to improve, but an 18.890, your new time to beat.
Wow. So both laps were under 19 seconds. I'm not sure that we've seen anybody manage to do that yet. Very, very fast from Kendrick, and following him, Calabro is going to be out on track. In fact, he's out very quickly, almost approaching the back of Kendall before he finishes up his cool down lap. Dylan now around 1 and 2, also taking that wide entry line. That didn't work out so well for drivers like Busch and Storkson.
No, it didn't, but I like the idea with that. Just trying to carry as much momentum as possible. A little bit of a wiggle coming out of 4. Let's see what this time is as he comes across. Calabro going to be able to put it into P5 with a 19 flat.
Pretty decent lap there from the 71. So he's on the 3rd row with it. If he can find any more speed, he's not that far off the 2nd row. Once again, the car looking loose, but every time we've seen that, it's been quick laps. Not this time. It's a 19.1. He'll stay P5 at best.
Yeah, he'll stay P5 here at the moment. Let's see what the next driver up is going to be able to do as the 71 completes their cool down lap here as they go. I believe next out on the track is going to be Jake Sylvia in the number 88 machine.
So he heads around here to start his first flyer, and he's known for being very fast. He's usually in contention for the win in the Touring Series when we see him coming around to fight on Saturdays. But the 78, or excuse me, the 88 on timing, but 78 on your screens, is keeping very low there on the exit. Interesting. First lap, 19 flat. It works for him.
Works for him, and who are we to argue with that, as he's going to be able to bring that car down and on through. So good run there for him. That'll put him into P4. Let's see, though, as he comes down through 3 and 4, if he's able to extract a little bit more time here at this point. Going to bring the car up. A little bit of a slide for the 78. Does Sylvia have any more left in the tank? No.
Does not go quicker, but it was very close. Only 0.09 of a second between his 2 laps. So again, very consistent. And I noticed, DJ, I think he clipped the inside curb on his 2nd lap. So he really likes that low line.
Yeah, and that'll work for some folks. If you're just able to get that down there and make it work, it can play out for you. Bradley Stefane, though, the next driver up in the number 89 machine right now, going to bring that car on through. Oh, big snap oversteer there coming through the corner. Maybe trying to warm up the tires a little bit. Not entirely sure. Let's see what he's got here.
Coming around through 3 and 4 now, also keeping it very tucked down to the bottom. Slides out a little farther than what we saw from Sylvia. His first lap, a 19.1, a little bit slower, but oh, the rear of the car complains as it tries to grip up. If this is a fast lap, I'll be amazed.
Yeah, I will as well, and that's going to be a 19.124, I believe, on how it goes. So that's only going to put Stefane in P7. Going to come across the line right now. Is lap number 2 a little bit better? No, it's not. A 19.136.
So it was mighty close, about 100th off of the first lap. So it was decently quick. But unfortunately, I wonder if maybe that slide down at 1 and 2 cost him, as James Pileski now heading out onto the circuit in the number 93. Your pole time is still an 18.890, and we only have 3 cars out of the 11 qualifiers so far that have broken that 19-second mark.
Yeah, so plenty of drivers here still with a lot of time to be able to put in through as they go. Let's see what they're able to get here, though. At this point, Pileski going to come across the line right now to start his flying lap. A whole lot of opposite lock coming through the corners. That's not exactly perfect, but he still may be able to get a good time out of it nonetheless.
Still need about half the field that need to come around for their qualifying laps. You know, we've got plenty of time for that one. He'll cross the line. And James sets a 19.055, pretty decent, good enough for 6th place. and about 300ths off of Kyle Adams there in 5th position. He'll fly around for the second lap now. Can he keep it tucked in low? He does, through the middle of the corner and on the exit as well. He'll cross the line. Oh, but it's a 19.127. That's not quicker.
Not quicker there, unfortunately. He is going to find himself a little bit back farther in the order here as he runs, and that's not going to be the run that he wants to have. He is not going to be happy with a P6, I've got to imagine.
I believe Dale Lekas is going to be our next one around as he now exits out of pit lane in the number 99. Another one getting creative with his numbers there with the candy cane stripes across them. And he is going to take Santa for a ride around the track as they get ready to start the first flyer.
All right, here he goes down into one. A little bit less oversteer than we've seen out of some of the corners. Almost, dare I say, a little bit understeery. Catches it on the outside, though. That's going to have him a little bit sideways. Oh, big snap there coming down into 3 and 4. Let's see if he's got anything on the exit of the corner. Going to cross over the line. That's a 19 flat. That's good enough for P5.
Very tight with the front runners. In fact, now from 1st to 5th, it is separated by just over a 10th of a second between them. He'll come around for the second time, seeing if he can do any better than that and crack the 119 or the 19-second mark. No, he can't, although both were extremely close.
Very, very close indeed. Lekas going to find himself in P5. Not the worst position to be in. I'd say if you're about in the top 6, that's going to be good. But remember, it's the top 12 that automatically advance and don't have to dilly-dally around in the heat races.
Yep, and while that will be more down to track position as it stands right now, that track position could be important. And we have someone heading out that was not part of our group that I expected, because I thought we had Tyler Lugo Vickery. No, it is Charlie Bates instead that is heading on to the track. Another very hot shoe, going to try and prove himself here.
All right, let's see what he's got underneath him as Charlie's going to bring the car across the start-finish stripe. Let's stay on board here, see what he's got. Going to bring the car down low, not exactly tickling the curb, a little bit of oversteer on the outside. He's going to try to hold it together here a little bit. I think that's going to be okay for Charlie. More narrow line, tighter line down through 3 and 4. Let's see what the first time is here for the number 18 as he's going to cross over the stripe, and that's going to be P6 with a 19.018.
Seems like that 19 flat is kind of the number that a lot of drivers are able to hit. It's been very consistently hit by a number of competitors out there, meaning the middle of the pack is extremely close. And again, he was 2,000ths off of his previous time, didn't go quicker, but we're starting to see a number of drivers that are much more consistent than what we saw at the very beginning of this qualifying session.
Yeah, and that's a little bit surprising here, Joe. Track temperature's risen up to about 133 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's actually gotten harder to drive around here. Is Tyler Lugo Vickery now going to be the latest driver to work his way out on the track? Let's see what he's got underneath him here as they run.
A bit of a Woods Brothers theme going on with that car's paint scheme as he flies out of turn 1 very close to the exit of the wall, but I'm pretty sure he kept it off of the wall. We'll find out pretty soon when he crosses the line and see whether or not the lap counts, because it's automatically done by iRacing. It does count. He stayed off the wall, but it's only a 19.4.
That's not good at all. That's going to be 15th position. But as we've seen before, it could be a situation where these drivers have got a little bit more in the tank, able to bring it back on a better run. Let's see here at this point. Big slide coming out of 4, though. I don't think this is going to be a good one for Tyler. And indeed, he's going to cross over the line. He'll stay in dead last.
That's going to be disappointing for him on that one. So I believe Angel Ortega going to be our next driver out there in the number 10 machine now, with the 00, of course, on his car visually, as we watch him start a lap here. One of those drivers that had a pretty good race back at, I believe it was Hickory.
Yeah, had a pretty good one there, and we've seen him come up and down through the order multiple times, so Angel is definitely a driver to keep your eyes open for here. Now he's going to bring the car out through turn 4. Let's see what he's got underneath him on this first lap. That's going to be a 19.255. That's not going to be the best. That's only good enough for 15th.
Still, remember, he gets those 2 tries. Oh, but he definitely hit the wall there. You could see the car bounce off of it as we rode on board. So this one is going to be a non-lap for him, and that 19.254 will be the best that he sees. And a man that I shared the booth with recently, Robert Hill Jr., going to be out there and going to see how he fares hopping from behind the mic to behind the wheel.
Yeah, he's going to try to see what this 05 machine can do. Another nice livery here at this point. I saw some snowflakes on the front, so kind of love to see that. But at this point, let's see what the time is going to be for the 05. Brings the car down into turn 1. A little bit off of it there, catches it. Ooh, shake the head. He doesn't like that.
And we'll see what the clock says when he comes around. He'll know better than anybody on what is good enough. He takes it right down to the curb on the inside, keeping it tight through 3 and 4. No, it's not great at all. 19.3, he was right. He's only 16th.
Yeah, only 16th there as he runs. Going to try to get a little bit more going here. I'm not seeing a shake of the head, so clearly maybe not nearly as frustrated as he was on that second lap. But let's see what he's got here. Going to come off of the line right now. Going to roar to it. A shrug of the shoulders there. And that's only going to be a 19.391. He'll stay 16th.
Okay, so he'll start from the back. Tyler Mueller maybe the next one in the number 1 machine as he heads out of turn 1, weaving frantically, trying to get some heat into these tires. He'll go all the way up to the outside, almost just scraping the wall there. He was so close to it, and then slams his foot down to fly into turn 1.
All right, here he goes. Tyler is definitely one of the quicker drivers here in this series. He is going to be going. Let's see what he's got underneath him as he comes into turn 3 right now. That car looking pretty stable as it comes down low line through 3 and 4. Going to bring it out all the way up to the wall. Tyler Mueller with a 19 flat.
In fact, that ties him down to the 1,000th with Dale Lekas Jr., so he's going to have to find just the tiniest of margins to jump himself up into 5th. iRacing does count past the 1,000th on timing. We just can't see it on any of our software, unfortunately, and he does not go faster. He'll settle for the outside of row 3.
All right, we've got 4 more drivers up to go, though, here at this point, so let's see what they're able to do. Next up, Deegan Smith in the number 15.
It's been slowing down a little bit, it seems like, although Mueller was quick enough to, as I said, get into row 3. But temp has continued to creep northwards. It has stalled out at about 133 since we last looked at it, and Deegan Smith is having to deal with it. So 4 degrees higher than what they started with, and yet we've seen some drivers with these hot temperatures still be quite fast.
Yeah, we really have. I mean, I think especially here, if you're able to excel on that first lap, the opening lap, that's really where you need to get it. Deegan Smith going to come across the line. A 119, or 19, I keep saying a 119. It's just 19.2. It's a short track, DJ. Not going to be the best one for him, but let's see if this second lap can be the money lap.
I've been doing the same thing too from time to time. So, he's very, very wide. I doubt this is going to be a quick one. Every time I've said that, I've been proven wrong. This time I'm proven right. It's a 19.4. Deegan Smith is only going to be qualified 16th at the highest on this one. So Thomas Earlywine is going to be next to try and take to the circuit in his bright blue and white machine. Also donning Santa, I think, on a couch, it looks like.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a buddy of his or something like that. That's kind of got a little bit of an inside joke vibe to it, so we'll have to hopefully be able to talk to Thomas at the end of the race, maybe get an idea of exactly what that is. But as of right now, Earlywine going to come around. Whoa, big snap of oversteer coming off at turn 4 as he starts his lap.
He's going to hope that Frosty can keep those tires cool behind the driver's door there, and as he flies up towards 3 and 4, this will be our first sign to see what the 17 can do here as he comes off the corner and towards the timing line. He crosses the stripe, and it's a 19.4. That's been on the slower end of what we've seen today.
Yeah, that is not good. That is P20 dead last on the field here at this point. Earlywine, though, going to bring the car down in through 3 and 4. Maybe he's going to be able to find a couple of tenths on this last lap. Not close to the wall, though. And that is going to be an improvement for Earlywine. That'll jump him up into 18th.
It's not much, but it's probably much needed, as this is our last qualifying car. Kendall Becker. Evan Hassler is here to compete for 22 cars, but he missed the drivers' meeting, so he is not allowed to qualify. He'll have to start from the back of the second split. Becker coming around here, and he is going to take the shallow entry instead of trying to open up this turns 3 and 4 like we've seen many drivers do. So a little bit more of a traditional racing line here for Kendall, but he's about a lane up through 1 and 2.
Yeah, but a lane up through 1 and 2, going to try to keep it together here at this point. Let's see if Kendall's got anything underneath him. Going to dive down into 3 and 4. Good line there at that point. Little bit of a slide for the number 20. You come across the line here with a 19.4. That's going to be dead last on the field.
Much tighter to the bottom on entry, although it looks like he washes out slightly on exit. Not sure what to make of this for the 20, if this is going to be a quick one or not, but he definitely needs to go faster, sitting 21st and last of those who set a time. 19.2, a small improvement, and I mean small, it's only up to 19th.
And that means the last driver here on the field will be Tyler Victory. The last driver automatically advancing on through to the feature will be Jared Schell. Everybody else going to have to go back to the heat racing format.
Yep, so those top drivers we won't see again until we get to the feature. These heat races, everyone should make it to the feature race, but they're determining their track position for these two very short heats here on this one. So if you start from the back, DJ, you're going to have to make quick moves.
Yeah, you really are. You're going to have to move here if you want to try to get your way up and in. That is going to be the name of the game here. It does look like we are going to have this one heat race and then the consolation race shortly thereafter. At least I believe that is going to be the case. We may get that changed here depending.
Yeah, it looks like it is. You're correct. One heat race. 2 of them will go to the feature automatically from here. And then from the consolation, those drivers will determine their starting position to see where they will grid up. So 6 drivers to try and sort this out here in our only heat of the night, as the drivers now have the chance to try and change that setup a little bit to see if they want it to race somewhat differently than they qualified.
Well, I've got to imagine you're definitely going to want to do that here, Joe, because you don't want a super loose car when you're talking about this long of a race here. Even 15 laps, you can hold on to a loose race car for 2 laps under qualifying and be able to try to extract the maximum lap time. Everything else, I wouldn't try to go there for that. It's not going to be exactly great. You want to try to keep it, frankly, as understeery as possible and as predictable as you can.
Yeah, that's definitely how I would do it, because, but then I'm not one of these drivers that's a little bit better and quicker at handling these oval cars. I've always been much more of a road driver myself, and having a loose car in the oval has always felt just very sketchy to me. But we're waiting to get going. Our pole sitter, Angel Ortega, is not out there yet, and hopefully we will take off pretty shortly. Now, I believe information we're being fed is they will not actually have the consolation race either. This heat race will decide the start order for the feature, and we'll head straight to that feature, and don't need the extra layers added in on this one. But our pole sitter does not arrive, promoting the 20 up to that pole position.
Well, we're hearing news that he actually parked the car for the night, so not sure if that was a bad setup or if something else was happening in Angel's life, but he's not going to be here. Behind him, though, it'll be Early Wine, then Becker and Hill. Behind them, Lugo Vickery and Evan Hassler to round out your field.
Angel may be protesting not getting the Angel Man action figure for Christmas. So we'll see if we see him maybe tomorrow when we head off to Thompson. But I'm Joe Peak, joined by DJ Clark and, of course, Ryan Bauer for today's racing as we come around for the first pace lap. 5 cars to determine our starting positions and what I believe should then be 21 cars that will start the feature race.
Yeah, I believe that will be the correct number as well, but let's wait and see exactly what that will play out to be. Here, everybody gets their way on through. And they come down the back straight away. Joe, it's finally time to go racing.
Kendall Becker inheriting that first with Thomas Earlewind is outside. Earlewind might feel a little hard done with since the 20 just slotted up there to that top spot instead of P2 being promoted. Green flag is out for the heat race of tonight. And as they come down into turn 1, it's a decent start there for the 20 of Kendall Becker. He'll force Earlewind to have to take second.
A little bit of argy-bargy between Vickery and Hassler farther back in the field, but coming up the inside is going to be Evan Hassler making a good move down low. Robert Hill just in the popcorn position as this battle takes place in front of him. Oh!
Yeah, a little bit of contact with the wall for the number 21 of Lugo Vickery, but a duck underneath from Hassler is getting loose. A great catch by Thomas Earlewind, keeps him in the race, but loses him 3 positions.
Yeah, and he's getting loose again at the back of the field here at this point. Tyler Lugo Vickery currently in 3rd place right now as he crosses over the line. You can see that wider line in front from Evan Hassler. He likes seeing that. That could give him a little bit of an advantage.
21, the one that's now getting loose there, coming off of turn 2, but he keeps it from smacking the wall and gathers it back up. Becker still leading. Not something I think he expected, considering he was supposed to start this race in 3rd, but he's having to defend the low line. Look at Hassler now get around the outside and getting loose. The 20 might give up the lead here.
Very well might, as they try to be able to get their way down to the corner. They're going to be side by side here as they come out of turn 4 to work on lap number 5. It's a little bit of momentum shift up to Evan Hassler in the lead of the race. He's going to try to carry speed around the outside.
Well, DJ tries to stay awake for Santa Claus. Up here at the front, Evan Hassler is going to take the lead away, and we're only a 1/3 of the way into this race. Kendall Becker now slotted back into 2nd. Remember, everybody makes this, but this will determine their starting positions. Lugo Vickery sitting in 3rd, now approaching to the back of the 20.
Yeah, and that 20's looking increasingly looser and looser over the course of the night. Of course, as I say that, the commentator's curse comes back to strike Lugo Vickery at that point, and he gets a little bit loose coming off of turn 2.
Oh, and still counter steering coming off of turn 4 there as he chases the number 20. He knows it's not a long race. He can use up his stuff, but even still, I feel like the 21 is having a hard time. He's going to try to get to the inside. No dice, though.
No dice at that point. He's going to try to push a little bit more, see what he's able to do. Not going to be able to go. It's about a car length and a half, the gap between the two. And a little bit of a slide there for the 21 is going to prevent any sort of overtake here at this point.
Hassler absolutely running away up at the top of the field on this one. It's basically a battle for 2nd, for best of the rest between this pair of drivers, because also they're dropping Robert Hill Jr. back there in 4th position. Another look to the inside. This is kind of what I expected, EJ. That middle lane, from my experience, has always been kind of the desired lane at this track.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like Lugo Vickery here at this point is really able to get the rotation there. You see a big grimace on his face as he tries to get the car down through the corner, just trying to get this car to rotate. I mean, they're having a blast here doing this, Joe. This is exactly the kind of racing you want to have if you're doing short track racing. Both cars sliding around all over the place.
Oh, almost gets into the side of the 20, but this time he gets a better launch down the backstretch and is to the inside of Kendall Becker, who has to give up the ghost, being forced out into the marbles. Lugo Vickery had a long time to try and make it happen, but he did get that P2.
Yeah, and you saw a little bit of a squiggle there out of Kendall Becker as he just tried to hold on to it. Robert Hill, though, here our sometimes commentating partner, not exactly having the best race here. He finds himself about 2 seconds behind Kendall Becker.
That's a little far back, and in fact, Tyler is running away now that he's got the clear air. I'm not sure if he's quicker than Hassler, but certainly he was held up quite a bit by Becker and compromised perhaps an opportunity to try and fight for the win. 3 to go across the line for Hassler and this black number 38. Just a few more miles to go.
Yeah, Hassler doing a great job here. And remember, he started from the back of this pack, Joe. I mean, that was because of a penalty accrued. He did not attend the drivers' meeting, but I think he's making a statement here. This is a car to watch out for.
That's a good point. Yeah, Hassler looking very quick out there. But Kendall Becker back here in 3rd position definitely has dropped off of Tyler. It's about a second between the pair of them. Robert Hill Jr. kind of creeping forward, but I think he's going to run out of time to challenge the 20.
Yeah, he's starting to get his way forward, but the white flag is in the air for Evan Hassler. 4 more corners, 4 different corners to be able to handle.
It's been looking like he's got a good handle on it all race long. Evan Hassler sends it down into 3 and 4. Nobody around to challenge him in this race. Charged from the back, and Evan Hassler is your winner in our heat race tonight. Lugo Vickery is in second, and Becker winds up third. Hill and Earlywine, your last 2.
All right, and as we said, this should lead us directly into the feature race here, and indeed it does. And one thing to remember here, Joe, an invert of the top 10 does mean that things are going to change around here a little bit as we take a look at the results of that heat race.
Yep, there you go. That's your finishing order, which will determine our feature, which we are indeed heading off to right now. Before we get racing, though, we, of course, have our national anthem sung by Simon Adams.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early... Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And here we go racing in a moment. First, though, we want to talk to the sponsor of this race, Jared Shell, and talk to him about getting this thing off the ground. Jared, sounds like a lot of drivers were eager. I have to imagine you're proud of what we've lined up here tonight.
Oh, no, I most definitely am. A lot of guys reached out to me and just wanted to thank me. Put on a little Christmas special outside of our weekly races with some money to win, you know, trying to promote my personal racing going on. So
now, go ahead.
No, go.
I noticed you're one of those with a custom livery for this one. I assume that you're not going to be very in a very giving mood if anybody comes and tries to pass you tonight.
Oh, definitely not.
So very Grinchly attitude. But I mean, what's your biggest thing for this race in trying to make sure you get to the finish in a good position? Because it's a long one at 250 laps.
Well, it's all about tire saving. My plan is to start saving off the bat, let people just burn it up, and then go from there. We got some heavy hitters, and I know I can't compete with them, but I can strategize against them.
Well, coming from the middle of the pack, certainly going to be difficult with all the craziness around you. So best of luck, and we'll keep an eye out for you.
Awesome.
There's Jared Shell and the number 34 starting in 12th this evening. Even has little Cindy Lou on the back of his car there. So very much in the theme on that one. So with that, it looks like we should be ready to go through the grid. And Kendrick, on the pole, it is Dylan Calabro on the top spot with James Bolesky in P2. Then you've got Kyle Adams starting in third, and then Charlie Bates in P4. Tyler Mueller will start from fourth, flanked by Dale Lekas Jr. Jake Sylvia eventually was shuffled back to seventh, with Steele Langford starting eighth, and then Zach Wilson will begin from ninth, with Kendrick Cryer on his outside.
In 11th place, it's Bradley Stefane, and then the driver who set the fastest time on the board, that's going to be Jared Schell, or P12, excuse me. Those are the first of the 9 inverts. Moving back into P13, it's Timmy Spatz and Keegan Bush in row 7. Row 8 will be comprised of Kenny Storkson and Deegan Smith to his outside. Row 9 in P17, it's Evan Hassler, then Tyler Lugo Vickery in P18. P19 will be Kendall Becker. Robert Hill will be P20. Thomas Earlywine will be P21, and Angel Ortega will be a DNS here today, as he did not take the green.
Also, one thing to watch out for in this race is, while they will have a competition caution at the halfway mark in this event, lap 125, they have a limited set of tires out there, 3 total. They're on the first set right now. They can change all 4 of them twice. Now they can choose to change 2 at a time if they so desire, but that's when the handling of the car might get a little bit interesting. They will have to be watching this manually, so drivers can technically take another set, DJ, but race control will monitor it, and anybody who goes over is going to be punished.
Yeah, they certainly will be. By the way, we are getting a note here that, hold on, that note is changing here. The 66 is apparently of Kendrick is trying to go for the last to first challenge for extra money on the border here. So that's why he's a little bit farther back in the field.
Oof, that's going to be difficult, especially with the troubles that are likely to crop up as we get ready to get going. And the drivers start to rev the engines here. Oh, actually, no, pace car is not going to pull in. I thought that they would be heading in. They've extended the pace laps to let the cars get ready and get going. Hopefully, this should be the last one, because I'm seeing that they have marked it as 3 laps to green. Here's some of our onboards here today. So we get to see their beautiful faces racing during this event. We'll check in with each of them later on, as we have been watching some of them. And there's an extra one with Robert Hill Jr., who we saw a little bit earlier as well. Here we go. This time should be the one, as the pace car gets ready to pull off. If I have been mistaken, it stays in once again, stays out on track once again. We go around one more time.
They're just teasing you here at this point, Joe. They're just absolutely trying to mess with you a little bit. But no, I think this is actually going to be pretty good here, because it has gotten later in the day. And take a look at that track temperature. 85 degrees Fahrenheit out on the track. This is going to be a little bit cooler, a little bit interesting for these drivers.
Certainly. So I'm going to hold off this time. I'm going to wait and see if we actually do get that pace car peeling in. It's going to be quick to the green, though, when he does that. This time, the pace car is in. Calabro has control of the field, and the green flag is out. They fire down into turn 1 with the 93 around the outside, but doesn't have the grip. He'll try and hang tight, though, and they continue on side by side down the backstretch.
They're going to keep this fight going up here. Pileski trying to make that fight around Calabro. Calabro's now got it to work down to the inside. The 24 of Kyle Adams trying to make a little bit of a run there as well, but Charlie Bates is going to be able to keep momentum up around the outside. Oh, and they are ants marching 2 by 2 by 2 coming down the back straightaway.
Oh, it comes back in favor of the 93, who pulls ahead. James Pileski, your new leader, but he did just clip the wall. Calabro now on the inside, doesn't seem to be like pinched to that bottom. Bates is able to get by him as well. The car looks like it's struggling.
Looks like it's struggling a little bit here at this point. I'll tell you who's not struggling, though. That's the 99 of Dale Lekas Jr. Some good runs there around the outside. We're going to take a look farther back in the field, though. This is Kyle Adams, just caught in the thick of everything.
Oh, man. Our pole sitter already down into 5th position, and thought maybe he'd be able to get up into the higher line, but no, he is still on the outside as we ride on board the 24 of Adams, who gets a little bit of a hip check, but we have a caution in the meantime. That's Jared Schell and Deegan Smith.
Two drivers around there. I'm not sure if those are related incidents or exactly what happened here at this point. Let's see. This is going to be coming down into turns 3 and 4, keeping our eye on that number 34 machine. Got a little bit sideways, kept it together off the wall, and just careened down to the inside. Those two are related.
Yeah, it looks like, unfortunately, Max lost control of the sled for Jared there, and he slid out, and that put him right into the side. Although, yeah, maybe he had a little help there. Almost looked like Deegan made contact with him on the way out of the corner. I wonder if that did bump Jared a little loose.
Yeah, maybe it did ever so slightly. Let's go back and take another look at the replay here as they come down through the corner. Kind of hard to tell from that angle. I can't tell from that one, Joe.
Yeah, let's get one more look at it and see if we can make an assessment here from on board. No, yeah, I don't think he did touch him. At least it didn't look like it from that angle. We couldn't quite see where the cars would have contacted, but the motion of Jared's car didn't look like it got bumped out of shape.
No, it certainly didn't. I think there what happened was Jared just kind of moved across the track ever so slightly as he came on through, and that's what threw everything at bay there at that point. But now as we get back here, back under green flag conditions, remember caution laps do count here under this, so we will be working on lap 7.
Yeah, so a bit of an early yellow, and unfortunately Smith has had to head into pit lane to get repairs done. Looks like Jared Schell did as well, unfortunately. So a couple drivers kind of up against it now, considering they only have one fast repair, DJ.
Yeah, and when you talk about those fast repairs, think of it a little bit as a spare car that drivers are able to jump into. You don't want to use that spare car a little bit earlier. You really don't want to have to use that earlier in the race. You want to be able to rely on that a little bit later on in the race and have that as sort of a safety blanket, as it were.
So drivers will have to be careful about opening their presents prematurely, and we'll have to try and hold on to that spare car as best as they can as they continue on behind the pace car right now, but enjoying this race. Don't forget that you can also tune in at podiumesports.com to watch this race. They have awesome streaming there that is completely separate from YouTube and Twitch. So it's its own thing, and we'd love to have you tuning in if you feel like joining in on the fun at podiumesports.com. But they go too wide, and they're ready to restart.
Yes, they are. And we'll stay in this double file, if I get my words right there, double file restart conditions here for a good long while. If we get a little bit scruffier in the race, we get incidents based off of that, we may go to a single file restart. But as of right now, we're staying too wide. It's going to be Charlie Bates and James Pileski leading this field around to green.
All right, will we get some more festive moods, or will drivers be a little bit grouchy out there as we wait for the green flag? A bit of a checkup, but now the green is out, and Pileski takes off, leading the way up at the front of the field. He is able to hold back the likes of Charlie Bates behind him, who is in second place. It's a battle for third between Mueller and Likas Jr.
Yeah, they're going to try to hold that out there a little bit. Looks like the 24 of Kyle Adams getting swamped farther back in the field. He's going to be dropping all the way down to 7th.
But it stays green, and side by side for the lead up ahead now as we watch on board. It is Pileski still to the inside, but Bates looks fast, and they're almost leaning on each other up ahead. They'll manage to complete lap 11. It does look like as that time James definitely hit the side of the 34.
Yeah, there was definitely some contact there at that point. We're right on board with Tyler Muller right now in P3. He's got a bird's eye view of this entire situation, but he's also going to be watching out of his rear view mirror because Dale Likas Jr. looking particularly strong. Number 1 right now trying to take a look, a little bit of a wider line coming down through turn 1.
Schell is off the lead lap. He's going to stay off to the inside to get out of everybody's way. It's good sportsmanship from him down there. And coming out of turns 3 and 4, still pressuring Charlie Bates once again, looking to the bottom side. It was working for him better than it was a lot of other drivers, but that opens the door around the outside for Mueller, who you can see in the light blue car.
All right, here he goes. He's going to try to make that run here a little bit more. Mueller likes that outside line, and he gets a great run off of turn 4 with it.
Down into 1 and 2 once again. Still a lot of two-wide racing farther back in the pack. Surprised we're not seeing drivers try to get single file there to try and preserve the tires, considering how precious few changes they have. Whoa, big moment there.
Yeah, and remember here, 250-lap race around North Wilkesboro Speedway. That is not what they want to do, and they do not want to be slipping and sliding like that either. That can put them into a real world of trouble.
That was the number 99 that we saw kind of get loose there for a brief moment, but he'll get back in line around 5th position. We come down to Keegan Bush in 12th spot, who slots in line behind Kyle Adams. See a bit of a fight ahead of them. That's between Zach Wilson and Evan Hassler.
Yeah, they're going to be duking it out here a little bit. Oh, there's a good battle, but Mueller now going to try to go around the outside. He's going for the lead.
Oh, but into the wall hard. That did not work out well for Tyler. Doesn't want to use up the car too much this early on. He hangs tough. They're still wheel to wheel coming down the backstretch.
Yeah, they're still going to be going at it here. Mueller trying to make that work around the high side, trying to see if there's anything to be had. He's going to get a little bit of a better run coming off of turn 4, and he's going to have a nose ahead by the time they dive into turn 1.
Oh, gets very loose there through 1 and 2, though, and Mueller needed that one. Another loose moment coming off the corner by the 93. He'll get back on top of it, but by now, looks like he may have lost that spot.
Yeah, I think he has Mueller now up into the lead of the race as we work on lap number 20 here at this point.
Tried to get his nose down through 1 and 2, but we'll have to get back in line behind Tyler, who is your new leader. And don't forget about Charlie Bates in behind them, who we ride on board with currently. Also, of our movers this race so far, Evan Hassler, by far the biggest mover. He is up 10 positions.
That is a big, big gain here around a very difficult short track. The number 38 machine, all in black here, working their way forward. His next attacker in front of him is going to be Dylan Calabro.
Down into the banking of one another side-by-side battle. This time, Hassler overtaking Calabro, and he is through. Lugo Vickery also having to give up a spot. That's going to be Timmy Spatz, who gets in front of him. Looking behind, that's Kenny Storkson currently.
Yeah, Storkson also trying to take a little bit of a run. Drivers starting to settle into a little bit of a rhythm here at this point, Joe, and that's really what you want to see. We don't want to see that aggressiveness that you see over sort of a short sprint race around a circuit like this. You want that rhythm to build out and let this race naturally come to the drivers.
Big look to the inside by the 21. And he is going to try his best to see if he can overtake Timmy Spatz, but no dice. That makes him vulnerable to Storkson. Storkson now goes for it.
Yeah, exactly, but he's going to ride up on that curve down on the inside. That's going to abate his momentum just a little bit. And I don't think that's exactly what he wanted to have happen there at that point. He's not going to be able to get the move done. And here is still Langford in 8th position. Some drivers moving and shaking behind him.
Certainly are, and I just realized that when we're looking on board back at Storkson, he's got Corvette headlights and a Chevy logo on the hood of the car. As the 99 battle side by side, Dale Leakus Jr. around the outside of Evan Hassler, and we know Evan's been quick today. This is going to be difficult to hold him back. Oh, he is through. Evan Hassler now up 12 positions.
Yeah, Hassler is not taking anything from anyone here at this point, and crucially, he is not out of the big gap. That is Bradley Stefane to Dale Leakus Jr., 7th to 6th. That's about 1.3 seconds. Here is James Pileski, though, trying to make a little bit of a run and trying to hold off an attack from Evan Hassler.
Langford just got by him. That put him off the racing line, and James finds himself now falling down to 5th, almost to 6th, as Leakus gets to his inside in the 99. Will he get shoved out of the way? No, he pinches the 99 down to the bottom, and he'll retain that spot.
All right, so he's going to be able to hold on to that here for the moment, but that's exactly what can happen around here, Joe. You find yourself a little bit offline, you find yourself a little bit squirrely coming off of a corner. You can lose 2-3 positions when you just lose that momentum.
Sylvia moves up into 10th. He's actually fallen from where he started this race by about 3 positions. I'm a little bit surprised, but I kind of wonder if maybe Jake is just holding on to that rubber a little bit longer and maybe letting the other drivers race a little bit harder ahead of him.
Well, remember one of the stories of the race here, Joe. Be patient and let this race come to you. I think that's exactly what he's doing here at this point. With the invert that we see as Keegan Busch is going to be a little bit side-by-side here with Kyle Adams. Adams down on the inside going to be able to hold that line. I think for some of these drivers here at this point, they are just trying to hold on. They want to see how this race is going to develop. And with the invert that we have in this race, there is going to be a little bit of a scramble as everybody sort of sorts themselves back out into what you would think of their traditional running order.
Yeah, so it was a bit mixed up to start the race, and it's certainly kind of settled in here at this stage. Mueller still your leader, up 4 spots. Bates up 2, and Hassler up 14. He's got about half a second to make up to get to Charlie Bates in front of him. We're going to check in with Becker in the meantime, sitting in 16th. That's Kenny Storkson just in front of him.
Yeah, and that's Storkson he's going to try to close up on right now. Let's see if he's got enough of a run to make it play. Storkson, in turn, is getting held up a little bit by Timmy Spatz, I think. That could open up a little bit of a door behind them. There's a little bit of a move as well. That's Vickery trying to make a move on Kendall Becker.
And Deegan Smith also on that 20, getting kind of pushed up to the high side. Oh, he's out into the marbles through 3 and 4. And that's allowing, Becker, who is up in the high side through 3 and 4, and Deegan Smith chasing on him. Up to Zach Wilson, though, at this stage, sitting in 9th position. That is Jake Sylvia behind him, and Dylan Calabro. Calabro started this race, we have to remember, on the pole, but that was because of the invert.
Yeah, because of the invert, that's what it is. And there you can see as Sylvia comes up behind Wilson here at this point. The fine margins that we are dealing with out on this track, it is absolutely infinitesimal. These drivers are almost riding over one another as they try to get the best line around this circuit.
And we've been green for some time now. This has been about 20 laps that they've been able to put down without getting a caution flag. Big dive down to the inside, sliding up, and of course, just as I say that, Jake Sylvia is sent to the outside wall, and there is the caution.
Well, there it is, and I'm going to blame you for that one, Joe. That's a commentator's curse if I've ever heard it.
I'll take the coal in my stocking. So the 88 gets turned around and going, so it wasn't too hard of a hit. I wondered about that move. Watch how deep he sends this in.
Yeah, I mean, he's about a quarter of a car length back here. The 78 absolutely chucks it into the corner, and the biggest problem you're going to have at that point isn't necessarily making the corner, it's making the corner exit, and that's exactly what we saw. Just too much momentum pushed that number 78 up the track, and, well, you saw what happened.
Yeah, 51, I'd say, is kind of blameless in this one. He gave him space, and that car just kind of kept drifting, and eventually he's going to have to make the corner, and that car just kind of went across his bow. Here it is right here. Yeah, I'd definitely put that a little bit more on the 51, and we'll see if the stewards, or the 88, I should say, rather, and we'll see if the stewards agree on that one, because remember, if they give you blame for the cause of the caution, you get 3 of those before you are disqualified from this race. Nobody has been DQ'd yet. In fact, we still have all 20 drivers in this race that started it. So crossing fingers since we made it until lap 40 before our second caution that we won't see too many people needing to take blame for anything.
No, and I think that's a little bit of what happens here in a longer race such as this. I mean, the touring series that we cover on Saturdays, it's normally 100, 120 laps. It's a much more of a sprint-style race. And for a race like this, you know it's longer, and that's going to just adapt your thinking a little bit and how you approach everything.
Okay, so they'll slow down temporarily. Your leaders are Mueller, Bates, and Hassler. And I'm not too shocked by that, if I'm honest, DJ. They have looked very fast in comparison to many of the other drivers out here tonight. Bates and Hassler especially have looked mighty quick and have had to fight their way upwards. So kind of wondering how this is going to continue to look if it's these 3 up at the front pretty repeatedly. Can anybody pry those positions away, and how?
I think it's going to be very, very difficult, if I'm completely honest here, Joe. I think those three really are the cream rising to the top here. I think it's going to be a great race between the three, but I think the ability of the rest of the field to close down in on them and really turn this into more than a three-car race is going to take an absolutely Herculean task.
Also, wanted to give a thank you to the Shark Jumper for subscribing to the channel. Love to see new faces come in and enjoy the excitement that we have for motorsports. You're about to get more of it as we go double file and get ready to restart. Also, Jake Sylvia was indeed given the end of line for this restart, so there is one knock on him. If he gets another blame for a caution, he'll be sent through pit lane for a drive-through. So he's got to be careful from here because it's going to hurt even more if that happens, likely sending him a lap down. Pace car is off and Mueller is away. Green flag is out. Very good jump for the number one. Bates looks like maybe he could be under threat from Hassler, who's down to the inside.
Yeah, Hassler's going to try to make that run on him here at this point. Steele Langford just trying to hold on with everything that he can in that white number 33 machine. Here they go, trying to push their way forward. That top four is going to get themselves single file here before everything's said and done.
Kind of surprised. I thought maybe Bates was going to lose that spot, but it does seem like the low line still isn't quite that good for many drivers. Still side by side between Pileski and Lekas Jr. back for fifth position there. You can see a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing farther in the pack, but Pileski struggles off the corner. The car gets loose, and he has to try and wheel it back to the racing line. Is he going to get fed out here to the wall? No, he's being given space.
Being given space here, good respectful driving as we get close to the 1/5 mark of the race. They're really trying to keep things together. This battle, though, for P5, still Noah's Ark as they come down into the corner, trying to be able to sort themselves out. I'm not seeing any abatement, though.
Good running between Cryer and Stefane. Stefane on the outside there. You see in the blue, number 89. Thought he was going to lose control for a brief moment. That was a wild entry into three. But he's going to try and see if he can get in behind the likes of Cryer, and he does so successfully. We go single file for much of the top half of the field.
Yeah, they're all sorting themselves out here, and I think that's experience coming through, Joe, just trying to save the tires here a little bit, recognizing they don't need to be too aggressive, too crazy, too early on.
Yeah, you've got to try and hold on as best you can. We do have that competition caution at halfway. Now, I should clarify, I believe it's as long as they don't get any yellows between lap, I think it's 90 and 125. If they get a caution between that, that will count as the competition caution.
The other thing to keep in mind here, Joe, is that we are working our way to about 7:30 virtual standard time, and that means that sun is going to be setting. As there you got a prime example of that as we rode on board with Hassler. That is going to be affecting the visibility for these drivers. They're going to find it harder and harder to see coming off of turn 4, and I think that's a storyline we're going to have to keep following.
Absolutely, and if we have a lot of cautions too, that could be an issue if it gets kind of dark out here, because sunset officially should be around 8:45, I'm seeing, but it's been looking good so far, so we're not thinking that'll be a danger, but it could be a reality even here in the sim. That they could run out of daylight. Meanwhile, battle for second is heated up in front of this. There it is, now on your screen. Bates going to hold off Hassler, who managed to get to the inside. But I'm wondering, DJ, if Evan needs to try and find a way on that outside lane.
Yeah, he very well might. I mean, that inside lane, as you've said a couple of times here, Joe, just not exactly having the really get-to-itiveness that we wanted it to have here. I think he's going to have to try to find an alternate way on by if he wants to go on through. But that battle, to my surprise, I would have thought that it would have allowed Mueller to be able to extend out into the lead a little bit more. But that's not the case. He's actually been caught here by the likes of Charlie Bates.
These two must be pretty fast. That or Tyler is trying to manage this race, knowing he's got the track position, just keeping those tires nice and easy. Him with the lead, I mean, he can dictate what happens up front, how hard they run. Bradley Stefane, in the meantime, sees a little bit of side-by-side just in front of him. This is Cryer and Pileski still. They've been battling each other constantly today.
Yeah, this is a battle that I don't want to say it has disaster written all over it, but it has tire wear written all over it is really the way to think about it here, Joe. I think at this point, if you're going to be making a move, you need to be making a move that you know you're going to be able to pull off. If you continue to go side by side like this, it's just going to chew up your tires.
Yeah, and Cryer, I thought, was far enough ahead. It gives a little bit of a rub into the side of Pileski down into turn 1, but neither of them get spun out by it. The more they do this, the more that Stephane's going to be probably losing his patience because he's being held up here.
Yeah, he thought about 3 wide there coming off of turn 2, but I think for the better, he decided against it at this point. Now they're going to get themselves into something resembling single file order. Never mind. Nope, Storkson and Adams still back at it again.
The 93 got loose off of turn 2. Maybe those tires are starting to feel it. They've been racing on them since the beginning. This group, only drivers who have had a chance to try and change tires, I don't think have. Well, almost, I think the only one that's most likely is Jake Sylvia, who had a little bit of a longer stay in there, but I don't know why he would use up a set this early in the race. So we got a yellow. It looks like, oh, it's a big pileup on the back stretch. The 05, the 21, the 15. I see the 88 of Jake Sylvia involved in this one again. It's almost a track blockage over here.
Well, as you can see there, Joe, it is not just Talladega that is susceptible to the big one. When you've got this many cars running around a short track like this, it is not out of the realm of possibility that you can get a big incident that takes out the majority of the field, and that's exactly what we just saw.
You can see the tail end of it, and it's the 27 of Keegan Bush, I think, who kind of kicks this all off. He gets a little loose. Now, it was hard to tell if the 15 pushed him the rest of the way around there, but it definitely looked like initially the 27 just kind of starts to lose control.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'm not sure if there's definitely blame to be able to be levied there. Let's take another look. They're coming down into the corner. That may have been a little bit of ghost contact, if I'm honest.
It was very close between the pair of them. Eventually, he does make some contact, and unfortunately, there's a number of cars that couldn't escape. It looks like this is going to be Robert Hill Jr. Is he going to be able to get through this? I'm hearing he has a clean car still.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to do the opposite of what I suggested at the beginning of the race, where he, tries to absolutely go on through it. A little bit of damage there at the end, but he is still able to get through clean. That is a very, very lucky driver.
Yeah, it's a nudge. It doesn't look like he even scraped the paint, so he's able to get away that car sideways. That was Timmy Spatz, who was kind of across the track, unfortunately having trouble getting out of his way. And then Jared Schell also was able to back himself up and be able to keep from hitting anything. We're going to watch from Spatz's view, front row angle on this one. Yeah, man, it happened so quickly. It almost looks like he checked up and also got hit from behind.
I think that's exactly what happened there, Joe. That car just kind of arbitrarily spun around on him. He really had nothing left to be able to do there at that point. And he tried to get on the binders, tried to slow that car down, and he got hit from behind. It's as simple as that.
Also, they are saying no blame is being given to any driver on that one. They're calling it a racing incident, so nobody's going to be sent to the end of line on this one. Sylvia getting involved has already been a part of at least one wreck, but he is up to 13th, so impressive to see him get back in it. Kyle Adams, though, just went in and out. Did Kyle actually lose a lap there? No, he's on the lead lap, it looks like.
Yeah, I think he's on the lead lap here at this point, so he'll be able to keep that going around. Looks like, though, pretty quickly we're going to get back to double file here.
Yep, we are ready to go and restarting on lap 65 of this race. It is going by relatively quickly. They're getting some good green flag runs out there, but it is still Mueller and Bates on the front of the field. Hassler going to be starting from third. He's been looking to get involved as the green flag waves. Can he use this opportunity on the restart to get underneath Bates?
Well, he's going to certainly try to contact in the back. That's a car very, very sideways, and I'm not sure if they were able to get through it cleanly. Cautions back out.
And that was Lekas Jr. in the 99. I saw that one happening. He absolutely got help. This time, I'm trying to see who it was. Looks like Pileski, I think, is going to get in the back of him in the red and black 93. Watch this.
All right, so here he goes, coming off of the start. Little nearest bit of a checkup. Big checkup there coming into turn 1. And yeah, just the domino effect. Hit the car in front, hit the car behind. Boom, 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 boom.
And you know what we saw there that we haven't talked about yet that has been a frequent talking point in the touring series is the shape of these cars. You saw the rear lift up. That's one of the worst things about nose-to-tail contact in these late models.
Yeah, it really is. Just the way the car is designed, it will actually lift up off the ground there when you get into the side of a car, and so that's exactly what happened there for them. And yeah, there you can see the carnage that takes place.
Gets it turned around pretty quickly and gets going, though. He has a hit, but after that initial hit into the side of him when he was T-boned, it seems like the car was decent enough that he could get running quite quickly. That one was pretty obvious. We did see an end of line given to the number 18 running into the back of the car ahead. So.
Yeah, that is definitely a worthy penalty to be assessed here at this point. Got to agree with Race Control's decision on that, but it looks like we're going to extend the caution laps here at this point, just letting everybody get themselves sorted out a little bit more. And then we'll be back to green flag racing here in just a few moments' time.
And I'm going to correct myself. I had the numbers mixed up because he doesn't have his official number on the car. Charlie Bates in the 94 is the one that is sent to the back. So Mueller now has Hassler to his side, and we got to watch Bates try and punch his way through the field, get back to the front.
Yes, we do, and very quickly, Tyler Mueller up here in the booth. How you feeling, Tyler? How's the car?
It feels really good so far. Haven't had much issues with it. A little worried about Hassler being on my outside, though.
Well, I think we're about to dive down to pit lane, so we're not going to hold you off. Good luck, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, so we restart once again, and off we go with the green flag waving. This time around the outside, is it going to be a different story for Evan Hassler? He's instead got the likes of Langford to his inside, trying to overtake that second spot behind him. It is also Kendrick Cryer, along with Dylan Calabro, as we get another quick yellow. I don't see what the cause of this one was, though.
Man, I see a couple of cars slow in the back of the field, including the one that we have on our screen here at this point. Now, I'm not sure if that was a spin or this is Jared Schell. Let's see what happened here. A little bit of movement there from 27 in front of him. Comes up off the line. Oh, he got tagged from behind pretty hard.
Absolutely hooked. Yeah, he was getting a little loose, and I guess he didn't hear the spotter say a car high or just didn't have the grip. And whatever the case, just gets slammed into that outside wall as the car to his right hand could not get out of the way in time.
Yeah, and excuse me there, I said he got tagged from behind. I'm going to put that blame there on Shell. He very clearly moved up on Kenny Storkson here. Let's watch it from Storkson's perspective. Comes up off of the corner, gets the better run. Yeah, spotter must have told him he was clear because he moved up to be able to block that lane, and there was no lane to be had.
And I don't know where Storkson could have gone except slam on the brakes in that situation. So yeah, I agree. And we'll see whether or not the stewards will also give the end of line to the Grinch car on that one. I see the 34 was given the cause of that one. So that is indeed Jared Schell. So he was already at the back. In fact, he was multiple laps down. So this just adds insult to injury.
Yeah, it really does, and that's not what he is going to want to have here at this point. Going multiple laps down on this track, it's really a death knell, Joe.
Yeah, so unfortunate this early in the race. He's looking like he's sticking with it, even though it's kind of unlikely that he's going to be able to move up into the money-paying positions, but you never know. As we head on down past the start-finish line, and it looks like we're getting ready to go double file once again.
All right, so we'll be back to racing here on lap number 75. So getting us closer and closer to that halfway point here as they go about 50 laps away from it, as they are indeed going to start to pace themselves back up here at this point.
There we see the lovely paint scheme on the number 51. Another one of those very festive-looking cars, appropriately liveried, painted by Jesse Whittington, we understand. So great job, Jesse, on that paint job. So looks like, oh, maybe we are not. We were sort of double file. Now the lights look like they will be going off, and the drivers are just as eager to go racing as we are.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, these stop-starts like this, it does provide just a little bit of a roadblock for the drivers. They've got to think about a little bit more. They've got to try to prepare themselves out, and it can be very difficult to be able to get everything together and not lose your rhythm here as you're driving with these cautions.
Let's not forget, we're getting close to where they could wind up with the sort of inadvertent competition caution. From lap 90 to lap 125 is what they're looking at, where 125 will be the competition caution. Green flag is out, and Mueller leads away. Hassler is going to have to deal with Langford to the inside once again, getting a bit of a better launch, not only than the 33, but the 1 too, but he has no place to take it.
Yeah, he's got to check his momentum up there a little bit. Now Langford's going to be able to try to get that run down to the inside, but the outside lane working out a treat here for Evan Hassler, but he is being absolutely hassled by Steele Langford.
Cryer also making this a bit of a fight there. He gets up onto the outside, as we've seen in the past. Tends to be the place where you want to be, but he doesn't have a nose ahead. He still is given the room on the exit of turn 4. Carries it in deep down into 1 and 2. Yeah, look at the 66. He is fast right now.
Yeah, very, very quick, trying to put up some good lap times here at this point. Kendrick Cryer, we knew that car was quick going into the race. Now we ride on board with Calabro as he tries to get a little bit of a line coming off of 4.
So up to P3 for Kendrick. Steele falls back down to 4th position. Up ahead of them, it is still Mueller and Hassler in P1 and P2. They have not been able to run away from the pack. There is that sun still glaring in their eyes.
Yeah, still glaring here at this point as they try to be able to get everything together and try to hold on to whatever they can. It's not going to be the best thing in the world here for them as that sun just continues to beat down and absolutely pour into their eyes here at this point. But I'll tell you what, that number 38 looking good. Also getting some good runs here. Robert Hill Jr. trying to climb his way back up through the field.
And in case you're just joining us, let's not forget that Hassler has gone from 17th to 2nd. He's gained 15 positions up there. Meanwhile, back here, some good racing towards the back of the pack. This is that man I was talking about, Hassler, chasing down Tyler Mueller. Has not been able to lead this race yet, but he did lead the heat race before this. So Mueller has experience in the clear, and it seems like he wants it.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a pretty big key here. You know, when we talk about these cars, Joe, they're not super aero-dependent cars necessarily. As we take a look on board, Charlie Bates trying to make a move down to the inside of Jake Sylvia.
Manages to at least get there, but Sylvia's on the outside as there's not enough grip there for that number 78. No, indeed, there is not. So he falls back. Bates now up into 9th. Remember, he had the EOL for one of the incidents earlier on. Deegan Smith tried to take a look, but nothing doing for him. This is on board with Kendall Becker in the meantime.
Yeah, Becker just trying to figure out if he can be able to take any positions away from this battle with Sylvia and Smith in front of him. I think he's going to get a little bit of a run here down to the inside of the 78. Not sure if that's going to play out, though, and he's just going to have to hold in the line for now.
Meanwhile, back up to Evan and Tyler. They are nose to tail, and they're starting to pull away from Kendrick a little bit. I said earlier that they still have the fields tight behind them. The gap is up to about half a second. It's not monstrous, but it is getting bigger.
It is getting bigger, and that's going to be good, especially for Hassler. He's going to know that he's going to have a little bit more room to maneuver. He's going to be able to play a little bit more and get himself into a position where he is able to get those cars where he wants it to be and not have to worry about an attack from behind.
Another lap where they were quicker than P3 out there. A little bit of a more diamond off exit there for Hassler. Gets him a slightly better run, but once again he finds little place to take it, and we'll have to sit patient in behind that number 1 machine, almost pushing him down to the corners at sometimes, bump drafting on that car ahead. He certainly looks quick.
Yeah, he certainly looks quick here at this point, and he's going to try to use that to his full advantage. And I don't think he's necessarily going for the move here at this point. He's not trying to attack. He's just trying to get in the head here of Tyler Muller and see if there's a way to get him on by.
Coming off of turn 2, climbing up the hill of the backstretch into 3. Stays right on the heels of Tyler Mueller, just never letting him forget that he is there. This starts lap 90 now. So if we have a caution, that means that it will be counting as the competition caution. Watching on board with Kendall Becker side by side, fighting for one of the mid-pack positions. Oh, but Hassler's taking the lead. Hassler managed to get by Mueller just as we looked away.
Oh my goodness gracious, a brilliant move there for him to be able to get that to work itself out. Let's take a look at the replay.
I think this happened down into turn 1. No, so not that lap through, but this is up towards 3 now. Should be this next time by. Must have just gotten a really good run because, I mean, we turned away and the next thing we looked, he was already past him. Yeah, look at that. Sends it in. The 1 gives him a lot of space, maybe too much space, and off he goes.
Yeah, and I think that was just maybe Tyler trying to protect his tires a little bit more. Maybe that's the reason he did it, but let's see what exactly he decided to do here at this point, as it doesn't look like Muller's going anywhere. That number 1's still very close behind.
Maybe he knows he made a mistake. He's just going to hang with him, at least for now. Brings the Camry down up to the rear of Evan Hassler, just trying to do to him what he was doing right back for many, many laps. Also behind them, quite a battle raging between Lekas Jr. and Calabro. This is for 5th position. You can see they're too wide, too deep as well. That is Bates and Stefan.
Yeah, they're really duking it out here at this point, trying to see if they are able to get anything to play as they go. Oh, trying to avoid contact there as they come off of the corner. This is the battle for P5.
Dylan is pinching him down. He doesn't want him to get any sort of run and is trying his best to prevent that. This time, though, he goes a little bit higher. Maybe he felt like that was too close last time. The battle rages on for P5.
Yeah, it's going to continue on here at this point, I think. They are not going to let this go by any stretch of the imagination. And we've got a caution here on lap 96.
Oh, Jared Schell again on this one. And I think he was trying to get out of the way of traffic. He was trying to let faster cars through, and there was a miscommunication. He gets sent around. We'll see on the replay here.
All right, so this is going to be coming down into 3 and 4 here at this point. Again, that big sun getting up in the way. Yeah, just a miscommunication. I think he may have been trying to come down into pit lane.
That was Pileski. No, I don't think he was actually trying because he, and that was Jake Sylvia that just ran into him as he was trying to get back through. That's not going to go down very well at all. This counts as the competition caution because it was between lap 90 and 124. So this is Jake's perspective of it. He's going to see the smoke. He knows the incident happened. He's slowing down. Or is this afterwards? Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, I think this is afterwards.
Okay, so we are now back live, and Sylvia was in pit lane. I think he may have actually taken his spare car there. No, he did not. Wow, car is actually still in good enough condition. He just took a few seconds of repairs, and he's able to return. You can see everybody else taking what I assume is at least a set of tires and getting back out on the track.
Yeah, the only drivers that are staying out here at this point looks like it's Langford and Lekas Jr. They're the only two that have scored of not taking a pit stop here as they go. I think pretty much everybody else has come down on in. And so, well, we now got a little bit of strategy coming into play, Joe.
Well, they've got the track position. Well, let me take a look at those green flag laps for Langford and Lekas Jr. On that last run. So I'm seeing 18.7, 18.8 for them. Whereas at the start of the race, they were running, it looks like 18.6, 18.5 from time to time. So they might get swamped a little bit here, but it doesn't look like it's actually that great of a difference between lap times.
No, I don't think the fall off is too terrible here at this point. I mean, remember, track temperatures are down, Joe, so it's not like the absolutely brutal conditions we had during qualifying. And yes, this is an abrasive track surface, but at the same time, I think it's a little bit better for some of these drivers, and they're not going to have to worry nearly as much about tire wear. You still got to worry about it, but not nearly as much as we anticipated when this broadcast started.
Well, it appears Jared Shell, sadly, is the first on the naughty list, both for causing that last accident, that last caution, and for the poor rejoin. He has been our first DQ of the night, so he will be scored 20th, and 19 cars are left. They're going to extend the caution so that drivers can get back around. You can see these pit stops have kind of shuffled things up, and drivers are still trying to get in order.
Yeah, still trying to kind of sort themselves out here. But remember, caution laps do count at this point. So that means that they will continue to tick on by as we move on through, as we have passed over the century mark here in the race.
And it looks like Storkson was getting a wave around on that one. So they're making sure the 57 can get back up to the tail of the field, which he has done. So I think we're ready to go. And hopefully we'll get some more green flag racing, as we haven't quite hit that halfway mark. Langford and Lekas Jr. restarting from the very top. 99 sporting a little bit of damage on the rear of the car. Green flag is out. How quick are these tires gonna be as everybody now takes off?
And it's a good getaway there for Steele Langford. Dale Lekas Jr., though, going to be under pressure here from Hassler, who did take tires here at this point. We've got to remember, these are 100-lap-old tires that they are dealing with here at this point. So I would not be surprised if they start to wear a little bit more, but I got to give credit here to Lekas. He's holding out very well.
Yeah, he's holding that outside line. He knows that is the place to be. And it seems like Hassler is having a bit of a rough time trying to make that one stick, although he does get him to drift a little bit wide. Lekas still P2 is now getting in line. Evan Hassler decides maybe discretion the better part of valor in this one. Cryer side by side is, oh my goodness, Tegan Smith getting a lot of action in front of him.
Yeah, and that was Kendall Becker getting a little bit squirrely in front of him there as well, and he was lucky that that wasn't a bigger incident farther back through the field, but they're going to stay clean and green here for the moment on lap 106.
As we continue to race double file much through the field, Zach Wilson in the 51 overtakes Keegan Bush in the number 27. That's for 8th position. We look back from Zach Wilson now at Keegan Bush. Zach, pretty close to where he started this race, honestly. Beginning from 9th, now up into P8. Next on his list, though, is Charlie Bates on his charge back through the field. If he can, I got to think he's going to want to throw his rope around that number 18 and try and follow him through.
Yeah, that would be my thought process here, is just hold on to that position. Tyler Muller, by the way, all the way back in 6th position. So he's going to have a little bit of work to do here to try to get his way back up through the field.
Yeah, not looking as dominant as we saw him at the very start, especially once Hassler was able to get by. He's lost a couple positions in the pit sequence. Down into turn 1, Lekas Jr. versus Langford for the lead. Both the drivers with older tires are certainly not looking like it right now.
No, they're not. They look like they've got a lot of scrap in those tires underneath them, trying to look for the cutback there as Steele Langford not going to play out. They've got to be careful, though. That's a very fast Evan Hassler behind them, and if they get a little bit too scrappy, if they get a little bit too overeager in this battle, that could open up a door here for Hassler.
Oh, no, that's Mueller in the 1. He's brought out the yellow. He was racing door-to-door with Pileski, and I think there was some contact involved in it. Not sure who's going to get the blame for this one, but let's take a look, see if we can give an opinion on it.
Well, that's Mueller down to the inside. Pileski not giving him a whole lot of space coming off of the line. They're going to come down into turn 1. Ooh, that was a big twitch of oversteer there from Langford. Mueller. I wouldn't put the blame on him there for that, Joe. I think that's just a little bit of a racing incident, frankly, because that didn't look like any sort of problem. He just dove into the corner a little bit too hot and lost the car.
Interesting. They're saying the number 1 was the cause of caution, but they're also not giving him a penalty for that one. So Yeah, I'm with you. I felt like neither driver really too much to blame, although from that angle it did look like the one kind of got loose. But I just, I suspect that that's kind of the nature of the beast here, and he's already had a penalty, if anything, because that sent him to the back.
Yeah, that sent him to the back, and you know, I could see an argument where Muller maybe dove that car a little bit too deep into the corner, and you can hear that argument being played out, but at the end of the day, that's just short track racing.
Dale Lekas Jr. is pitting in. He's going to give up that track position. I suppose he had to eventually, but he's going to have slightly fresher tires. As we saw, though, it doesn't look like tires mean all that much. Now he's going to have to fight really hard to try and pass a lot of people.
Yeah, he's really going to have to work to try to get this to play here at this point, and I don't know if I necessarily love that call. And the big problem here now for Steele Langford is he's got a very quick Evan Hassler to his outside that's going to be starting this race off.
Yeah, with two cars, it might be a little bit more difficult for drivers on fresher tires to pass. If it's only one, I mean, how do you play defense on that one? And Hassler has, I'd say, far and away been the quickest car on the track most of the night. So the 38 is going to be a very tough customer.
Yeah, very much so. And, you know, to be honest, Joe, I'm not sure if you can play defense against it really necessarily, especially if he's able to get a good run off of the line, off of the green flag, and put himself into position. There may not be a way to fight back against him.
Okay, so they're not double file yet. Lights are still on the pace car. We got to wait for them to come back around. We start to get more and more of these yellows. It is currently just about 8 p.m. virtual standard time. So theoretically, we have 45 minutes before the sun hits the horizon.
I think we can get in a good race in that time, most certainly. We just got to keep it a little clean and green and keep running around here at this point.
I'm whipping out the calculator here at, let's say, 19 seconds per lap times, what do we have, 120, 135? So that would be just about 45 minutes if we go green. This is going to be interesting. Here we go. Green flag is indeed out, and Langford is your leader this time. Hassler doesn't get that great of a jump behind him. It is Cryer down on the bottom in the 66 that is threatening.
Yeah, really threatening. Almost contact there between the two. Cryer wants to try to move his way forward. They're going to be Noah's Ark coming out of the corner there behind them with Poleski and Bates behind as well. Everybody pushing and shoving here a little bit, trying to see what they're able to get to play.
Coming off a turn two, the 66 doesn't have enough grunt. He's going to have to slot back in. What about Bates behind him? Look at, he's fighting with the likes of Poleski and is trying to see if he can get inside for P4. Oh, wow, deep into the corner by James. I thought he was going to lose control and hit somebody. The car wobbles on its way out, and that gives an even better opportunity to the 18.
Hey, I thought we were going to see a little bit of a hip check there as well coming down to the corner, but now a wide run for the 93. We ride on board with Deegan Smith, though, running in 8th position. Is there a big move down to the inside? Comes some more cars. That's into the inside of the 34 machine, and they try to be able to sort themselves out here a little bit more. This is starting to get a little bit dicey.
Into the braking of 3 and 4, Bates settles back into 5th position. We ride on board with Sylvia now directly behind him. What a charge it has been with this car that has been involved in multiple incidents. And, oh, we're hearing that he used his fast repair finally. So maybe the damage was enough that he felt he needed a little more speed.
Maybe he did. We'll have to see if it's going to play out for him here at this point as they continue to work their way on through. Riding on board with Zach Wilson right now. Wilson trying to get that car to play out of 7th position. Sylvia right in front of him. Just nice patience here being exhibited.
You're going to need that. You're going to get right down to that curb on the inside. You don't want to touch that thing. This old version, new version, of course, it is just wall down at the bottom, and you don't want to hit that, but you could certainly upset the car in the middle of the pack very easily, as I thought I saw the 20 go wide, but it is Kyle Adams instead on the bottom of the 24, who spins off to the side. Doesn't look like we'll get a yellow from it.
No, it doesn't. We'll stay green here at this point on lap 123. Let's see what's able to play, though, as they go. We're going to ride on board here with Jake Sylvia trying to make the move on Charlie Bates.
Kyle Adams manages to stay on the lead lap and get the car running. but he'll be well behind and could get gobbled up by the leaders here pretty quickly, considering how much he lost. Langford, I am massively impressed, and I have to say, I kind of feel like he's made the right choice staying out on those tires.
Yeah, I think he has, Joe. I mean, clearly that drop-off that you were doing the math on, not nearly as much as we thought it was going to be, and Langford just able to hold it out. Drivers side by side, though, farther back to the pack. This is Deegan Smith and Zach Wilson.
Wilson on the high side. Is that lane maybe starting to finally go away as he drops back behind 15 of Deegan Smith? And Smith grabs P7 in front of him. It's Sylvia and Bates as well. A little bit of an earlier entry there from Zach Wilson, but doesn't manage to get his nose underneath the 15 car. They climb back up the hill now.
They're going to come back up the hill. Remember how this track is a little bit oblong. It's not exactly perfectly symmetrical, and it does rise and fall over on the circuit. So let's see what they're able to get here as they come down and on through. Hassler, maybe the race starting to come to the black number 38 here at this point.
He's looking slightly closer to Langford, but not by a lot. Still has about a car length to reach him up there. And he's going to have to hustle. He's going to have to push hard. And we saw this from Hassler before. He went all the way up to the top, and he waited so quietly back there in second place until suddenly he struck, and it was over in the blink of an eye. In fact, it was too quick for us to catch it live.
Yeah, and that could be what we see play out here. I don't know at this point, Joe. We have got to wait to find out. It is going to be fascinating to see what exactly is going to develop here, and maybe he's just going to be able to get that sneak attack.
Oh, he's very close now, but we're watching from on board with Kendrick Cryer, who's also starting to get close in there. And coming up off of turn 2, it's a great exit from Hassler. He's going to show himself. He's going to get to the inside, and I think maybe this is where the job could be done. Langford's going to fight him, heading back down into turn 1, but they've also got lap traffic in front of them.
They've got lap traffic in front of them, so let's see how that's going to play out here as they try to work their way around. That's Kyle Adams doing the right thing, staying down to the low side, but here comes Hassler down to the inside.
Doesn't matter if he's pinched on the bottom. It looks like Hassler has the speed. He's got the grip on those fresher tires. Still making a heck of a fight of it. Langford will not quit, will not give up. It is Cryer sitting behind them that you see in the black and blue, number 66, that has nowhere to go. And there it is, job done now for Evan Hassler.
And it's not done because Kendrick Cryer wants to try to make that position up as well. He's going to look down to the inside here at the moment, trying to get that to play. I'm not sure if he's going to get it, though. It was a good run for Langford coming off the corner. There may have been contact there between himself and Hassler.
Oh, I put him offline, too. He is now way up high, and that allows the 66 underneath him. I think he was just put off, maybe unsighted, so close behind the leader, and now he falls to third as Kendrick Cryer slams the wall, just putting the throttle down a bit too early off of 2.
Yeah, and that's going to hurt him there. That's going to hurt his momentum a little bit as they come off the line. But let's see what he's able to do here at this point. Right on board with Langford as we've got another yellow.
Trying to see if I can spot where this one came from. I see Becker offline. And yes, indeed, it was Becker in the number 20, hit by the 27. It looks like. So here we've got the replay of it. They're side by side down the front stretch, so I can take a guess what happens here.
Yeah, comes into the corner there, just tries to do it, loses the car there a little bit, does the number 20 of Becker, and that's going to be enough to spin him right around.
Like a record, baby. And almost looked like the other car in there had a little piece of it as well. Just trying to figure out who that was exactly, but couldn't see which number that was.
Yeah, I couldn't see either on that one, Joe, but Becker doesn't look like there's too much contact there on the number 20. I think he's going to be able to hold on to it there. There is the contact with the 27 that spins Becker right around. They're able to just kind of get out of it is that other machine.
Yeah, so small incident. Car just gets completely spun 360 and gets back to racing. So will we see our former leader now head into pit lane? I think yes, indeed we do. Langford finally going to go for new tires. He is going to have much fresher tires than those around him. but still with a lot of race left to go. And again, needs to try and charge his way forward. It was Lucas Jr. we saw also do that, and he's up to 10th. So Dale's actually done a decent job at getting back into this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad job here to find himself in this position. He's up to P10, and remember, he is going to be able to get some dividends from that later on in the race in terms of he has got tires that are about 10 laps younger than everybody else around him, and we saw a little bit of that tire cliff start to play out a little bit. It comes around the 100-lap mark, so if he's able to time this right, this could play out into his favor.
There's your 4 onboards that we have been watching today. Trying to figure out who is our highest up amongst this group here. We've got still racing out there. And unfortunately for Robert Hill Jr., who in the bottom right, he's perhaps the farthest down there. He sits in 18th, a lap down, but is still going at it and trying his best to try and get into it. And race control getting on the loud horn and letting the drivers know that even though they have the ability to take more than their 2 extra sets, they are not allowed to. So if they do, they are watching and will penalize anybody who takes a third tire change out there. Here we go. Drivers are now side by side, ready to restart on lap 141.
All right, so here they go, coming down the back straightaway right now. It's going to be Hassler and Cryer, Pileski, Silva, Bates, and Smith. Your top 6. How are they all going to fan themselves out?
Hassler now with the lead back also. We didn't get to see him up there for long because of the competition caution happening and him pitting. Green flag is out. He gets a decent jump over Cryer. Cryer's probably going to want to jump down to the bottom side here pretty quickly to cover off those behind him. Maybe not, as Pileski's not able to get side by side. He's still dealing with Sylvia, who has now managed to make his way up to 4th and fighting to get into the top 3.
Yeah, he's trying to fight for it here at this point. Gotta love that for Silvio. We know he's got speed from our normal Saturday series here at this point. So let's see if he's able to get anything to play. He is leaning and getting leaned on there by Pileski.
Coming down into the braking for turns 3 and 4 now, still holding on around the outside as we watch from on board with Pileski fighting hard to try and keep Sylvia back. They make a slight bit of contact through 1 and 2. He is really fighting him, giving him no quarter.
None at all. These two are absolutely leaning on each other here at this point, and you can tell we are getting into the final nearly 100 laps of this race because nobody wants to give an inch of space. They're still banging doors coming into 1.
Oh, and he gets the inside curb. Car gets loose. He saves it. Only falls down to 1 position. Sylvia gets P3 behind him. It's now a side-by-side battle between Bates and I think that's Deegan.
Yes, it is. That is Bates and Deegan Smith here at this point trying to be able to sort themselves out a little bit. And car around!
Oh, and another big one, unfortunately. That one, once again, Pileski. This time, though, he did not have help, I don't think. Actually, maybe he did. I'm going to check on the replay here in a second. No, I think he had some contact from Bates.
All right, let's take a look at this. This is going to be the black, yellow, and red, number 93 in front. Was there that little bit of contact that caused him to go around? Yep, just the littlest of love taps from the 34.
They are so on edge. That's all it took. And unfortunately, there were a lot of drivers that were collected out of that. Zach Wilson had a huge shunt, both into other cars and then eventually the wall, getting popped up into the air. And a few others as well. Yeah, you can see that 51, that blue machine, just getting hit and flying off to the concrete. So if he hasn't taken his spare car, he's going to need to take it this time for sure. There's one more look at the incident. Oh, big one.
Yeah, big kathunk there at that point, and that's going to send him right around. Very unfortunate incident there for him. Not what he wanted to have happen by any stretch of the imagination as we look back up through the field here, just trying to get a little bit of an idea of some of the carnage that we saw. You see a little bit of a wiggle in front as drivers try to get down on it there as Bolesky down to the inside. And we try to take a look back here through the field at Tyler Vickery, the 21.
So let's watch from on board Tyler coming down into the braking zone. I mean, there's not many places he could go in this situation, and kind of winds up having to push his way through the rest of it. Just little bumps. Thankfully, nothing major, it looks like, and we'll be able to run away. But number 18 was deemed the cause of the caution. So he is getting the EOL. That is Charlie Bates. I think that's the second time we've seen him be deemed the cause, but this is the first time that it is considered worth a penalty, if I remember right, because I'm pretty sure we saw Charlie get sent to the back once already.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember off the top of my head there, Joe, but it also does look like we do have another DNF out of the day. Zach Wilson, after that damage, has called it a day.
Yeah, I checked and he'd already used his spare car, so that was it. There's nothing else to it. Too long to try and sit and take repairs for him. That means now only 18 cars running, and only 13 of them are on the lead lap. Timmy Spatz is the last of those in the number 54, who is still on the lead lap. They'll go double file and get ready to restart on lap 151. We are now going to be officially down to 100 to go.
All right, so here we go, down to 100 to go at the time of the green flag. Cars sorting themselves out here. Yep, indeed, Charlie Bates being given an EOL penalty.
Pace car getting ready to release Hassler. Crier to his outside. Green flag is out. Sylvia's in third this time on the restart. Is he going to be a problem for those top two with him having the inside line? Oh, way around the outside for Kendrick. Crier sends it in deep. Just about has overlap. He has to be given space by Hassler.
He's got to be given that space here. Is very tight margins up at the front right now, but Hassler going to hold on to the lead side by side with Sylvia and Muller right now, as it looks like Muller's starting to get himself back into the equation.
Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, your top drivers all still side by side coming down the backstretch as we watch on board with the 71, seeing the battle unfold in front of this. Cars still banging off of one another down the main straight. Bit of a loose moment there from Sylvia.
Yeah, a bit of a loose moment there. That's not going to be the way that he wanted to be able to handle that, but he's going to have to hold on and hold in the line here as they run. Still trying to be able to get everything to go. That 88 machine looking behind. Almost a little bit of contact there between Hassler and Muller.
Cutting underneath, trying to see if he can maybe take a position. Sylvia still not giving up on this one. Tyler up on the high side is using that slight banking to try and just keep himself in contention. Pinch down that 78. You can see him try to force him lower than he's comfortable.
Yeah, just not able to get it to go, and they are really, really driving defensively here, Joe. That's what I'm taking away out of this. They know it's time to start playing.
All right, single file. So it is Crier, your leader, Hassler second, Mueller third, Sylvia fourth, and Calabro in fifth. And they're running away from the rest of the field. They have turned up the wick.
Yeah, they really have. There is a gap of 1.1 seconds in between the two right now, and they are going to try to get that to play as much as possible. Down
past the timing line once again. I have to say, I am a bit surprised but impressed with Crier in that 66. He's been quick, but I didn't think he was faster than Hassler. He's been able to take the lead away. Now, can he hold him back until we get to the checkers?
I mean, that's my real question here as well. Is he going to be able to hold on to that? Is this going to be enough to be able to play here as they go? And will we see another pit stop that needs to be taken place before everything is said and done? That's going to be another huge question that I have.
We have another caution. Trying to see who this is for, though. And I'm not seeing... I can't find an incident, actually. Piece of debris on the track, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it is. It looks like here the 57 a little bit slow. That's Kenny Storkson. Let's take a look here. Maybe this was just an errant incident by Storkson that triggered the yellow.
He has a little bobble, but he doesn't turn the car around.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure as well exactly what happened there as the yellow does come out. That's going to restack the field here, though. And this is, again, what I've talked about before with this type of race. When it comes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, that you've got to worry a little bit about that rhythm building back into it. That's where it's going to be especially difficult for these drivers to make sure that they are on top of their game with all of these yellows being thrown.
And it looks like we found the incident. The 24 actually involved in 2 separate incidents here. So he's going to have contact with the 20. This is Kyle Adams. He's going to get shoved into the wall here. And then as he tries to get going, watch the 27. Doink. And both of them up there.
So just a little bit of an incident there at that point, but that's going to be just enough to be able to bring out that yellow flag here at this point.
So Kyle Adams now being given the end-of-line penalty for that one. So he'll be sent backwards. And now it is Kendrick Cryer leading on this restart with Hassler starting in second, Tyler Mueller in third, and Jake Sylvia still in fourth. Don't forget about Calabro back there, who is suddenly found himself to be a real issue for the front runners. Less than 90 laps to go on this race. And the complexion, what fascinates me about this, DJ, is the way that the complexion of the race has changed and the faces up at the front.
Yeah, it really and truly has changed around here. I mean, Muller's kind of the only one that we've seen here be able to keep anything resembling consistency up at the front of the field. Jake Sylvia, another driver that's now working his way up forward. That's one that we kind of had earmarked here. Hassler has made his way back up, but this is a constantly changing race.
So I'll need you to make a prediction for me here, DJ. Who gets the milk and cookies at the end?
I mean, at this point, I like what I'm seeing at Evan Hassler. I think it's going to be hard to beat him here at this point.
I have to agree. I wonder about Kendrick doing what he does here and managing to take this lead late on. It looks like the lights are out on the pace car, so we'll get back to the racing here in just a second and see how this restart goes, if we can get some more green flag running. And coming on down to Barney at the flag stand, you can see the pace car in. And there is the green flag. We are off racing once again. Another good start from the 66. Now look at this, the one getting to the inside of Hassler.
And that's exactly what I thought Muller was going to try to do. He knows he doesn't want to let Cryer get too much of an advantage up at the front of the field behind them. Sylvia and Calabro also duking it out here a little bit, but this battle for P2 is where it's at.
This is not good news for Hassler. He wanted to be focused forward, not behind. Mueller still fighting him from the bottom, but the pinch just keeps running drivers out of momentum. He falls back to third. Sylvia in there in fourth. Watch out for that 78.
Yeah, watch out for him indeed. He is going to be a very, very aggressive car to try to see if he's able to get anything to play there at this point. Let's see if anything can happen here as they go. Looking down into the corner, Mueller just having to be sure behind and not make any sort of mistakes here.
Oh, big slide up to the outside by Jake. Just about slapped the wall, but I think he managed to get away with it without actually touching. Down to 84 laps to go. Sun's getting kind of low in the sky. I know we were talking about whether or not we're going to make it to the end here, and we have had a few cautions since then. It's getting a little bit dark. Remember, this is the 87 version of the track that does not have lights.
No, it does not have lights, and that could come back to bite here a little bit for these drivers. They're going to have to try to keep things clean if they want to go. Almost a little bit of contact there between Hassler and Mueller.
So once again, 38 on his back foot instead of on the attack. In fact, I really did not expect him to be passed by Kendrick. Something maybe has happened to the car. Maybe the tires are starting to wear out slightly. Maybe the track temperatures don't agree with him as well, as it's down to about 85 Fahrenheit on the surface currently. And down through 1 and 2 once again. They've settled back in, and they go back to single file. Not as much pressure as we saw from before.
No, not as much pressure as we saw, and this is another yellow that has been drawn out here at this point. This is going to be farther down in the field. That's the number 27 machine of Keegan Bush.
Yeah, it was a bit of a pinball, this one. In fact, I think he did involve, it looks like, Bradley Stefane. You're going to see around the outside. It started even out of turn 4 before it carried on here into this 3-wide situation. Bounces into Bradley, and then Bradley is going to wind up also collecting the likes of Langford. Oh, no. So let's watch from on board here.
Yeah, on board, he's going to come down into the corner right now, on board with Bush. There you're going to see that little bit of a pinch, catches it, great bit of car control there, and then unfortunately all kind of gone to naught here in the second part of this run.
I mean, he just about watched his race end, because he would have plowed into the pit entry and his day would have been done. I feel for the 33. He was doing a good, steady job of climbing back up through the order, but that was a pretty hard hit, and because of that, he is in pit lane. I think he's going to lose a lap here. Yeah, just an innocent victim.
Yeah, really an innocent victim in all of that, Joe. Just nowhere for him to go, unfortunately, and that just kind of caught him out a little bit.
Yeah, and he made it past the initial accident. He thought he was clear, and all of a sudden the 89 just hooked him as he was trying to keep the car from spinning around. And in fact, I think, did he continue on? No, Stefane's actually a lap down. So, I'm not sure if he was already a lap down when this accident happened, but then I can't blame him too much, because he was kind of put in that spot when the slow 27 car didn't mean to try and make a 3-wide, just kind of developed.
Yeah, it just sort of happened in front of him. As we said, no real, incident there that he could have gotten around. There you see the cars slowly getting their way back on through the 89 there with the pretty hefty damage as well. Stefane is down in pit lane here as well. That's going to be multiple drivers down into the pits.
So who do we have left on the lead lap now? It looks like actually still at 13, maybe 14, because Langford managed to get back out in time, and he still scored on the lead lap, but not sure. Zach Wilson, one of the drivers that was our onboard scam, so we've gone from 3 to 4 now, and there's just a few left here to give us their perspective of this race. We go back to double file once again.
All right, double file once again. Cryer and Hassler up at the front. Muller going to be in third behind him. He is going to be hoping here at this point that he is not going to be able to have the same kind of bad jump that he did off of the line, but we will have to wait and see. Still plenty of time left to go in this race for it all to be decided. It'll be going green with 75 to go.
Stefane was being given the EOL for that one. 89's already in last place on this race, actually. Green flag is out, and off we go. It's not the greatest of starts from the 66. In fact, they look kind of bunched up coming down into the first corner. The one going to try and attack on Hassler.
All right, here he goes. Here comes the battle. Let's see what they've got here at this point. They're going to be trying to do absolutely everything they can. Here's a little bit of side-by-side. Here's a little bit of how you do. Here's a little bit of going. Let's see what they can get to have happen as Muller and Hassler are still going to be duking this out.
Calabro and Pileski made a little bit of a touch too. Oh, down to the inside, getting spun around. That was Calabro. Oh, more cars. Going to have some big hits in there. Again, it looked like it really bunched up off the corner. And I think Calabro was kind of checking up for the 2 in front of him who were going a little bit slower. Watching turn 4. This is 1 here and into 2. Things get a little bit wild as they come down into 3. He sees the move by the 78, says, oh, I'm backing out of this. And the 93 did not get the memo.
No, really just didn't. And oh, what a monster lick there for the number 71 of Calabro. That is going to be a big, big hit. No, that's some pretty hefty repairs there for him.
And poor Stefane, he comes up to it late, unable to see what's going on, and flips Calabro up and over. You'll see it. Yeah, there he goes.
Yeah, Stefane just had nowhere to go. I mean, it's as simple as that, Joe, and it's tough to be able to see, but Stefane just kind of a hapless passenger in all of this. We're going to take a look on board here with him as he comes out of turn 2 right now, going down into turn 3. Look left, he's 3 wide at that point, so committed to the outside. yeah, just nowhere to go.
I mean, he couldn't see that car that was stopped there. No wonder he hit him so hard. And like you said, 3 wide. I mean, where's he going to go? Of course he has to stay high. He doesn't want to hit anybody. Yeah, there, 3 wide down below him. And then, boom, there's a car in front of you. No place to go. Has to come down into pit lane for yet more repairs. He actually hasn't taken his free repair yet, impressively. Did he take it? Yeah, he took it this time. So that one is finally what elicited that.
All right, so that's going to bring him down into pit lane here at this point. Let's take another look on board. Yeah, there's the tag, unfortunately, and just the spin around there, and nothing either of them could do.
So does that actually take Dylan out of the race? No, he's still on the lead lap. Okay, he used his free repair. I'm going to guess that was that last time into pit lane is when he did that. And that actually kept him in 11th spot just because there have been so many drivers with issues in this race. So despite rolling over, the 71 could actually still fight his way back to the front.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Somewhat strangely, I would have to say that he certainly could do it here at this point. I mean, there's still a lot left to play for. 70 laps is not a short amount of time in short track racing. That's almost a full race distance that you're able to get yourself in. So let's see exactly what can happen.
17 cars left now. We've lost Egan Smith. We've lost Zach Wilson and Jared Schell. But it has been Kendrick Cryer who has been leading this race for most of the second half of it so far. And he's been doing so quite well, I must say. But this time it's a switch up next to him. Now it's Tyler Mueller next to his outside. Sylvia sitting in third and Pileski in fourth. So what are we going to see on this restart? Green flag is out. It does look like the one is not able to keep with the 66 like we saw on the last restart. He's also got Sylvia peeking down the inside, but with not enough momentum off the corner.
Yeah, just not enough to do it. Looked a little bit of a look there from James Pileski, side by side farther back in the field between Spats and Vickery right now as they try to sort themselves out. But the top 4 are going to be single file car into the attenuator.
Not seeing the caution yet. Storkson takes it into pit lane, so it looks like maybe we'll be able to get away with it. And we'll carry on. That was one thing that I worried about at this track, with it being kind of that old school style. Definitely not much protecting that pit entry.
Yeah, that definitely can come back to bite there a little bit and really, really hurt some of those drivers as they get into that problem. Oh, that's such a hard leg.
I suspect that Kenny Storkson is going to be done after that one. No, actually, he took this fast repair and he's back out. So he still had it in his back pocket. He's letting the leaders go right now. That's who you see at the bottom of the racetrack, that Cryer, Mueller, and Sylvia go by now.
Yeah, they're going to work their way on through. Good heads up there from him to stay out of the way, not to be a blocker here. Cryer continues to lead over Mueller. But I've got to say here, I think this number 1 is just biding their time, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. And Sylvia close behind as well.
Oh, we got a caution. We were riding on board with Hassler as it happened. I didn't see what caused it, though. Now, where did he go? He's down in 12th. Oh, and the 89, again, the 89 involved in one. He's been having a rough past 24 laps or so. So Hassler got, I think, involved in a checkup. He was trying to avoid a 3-wide situation. Stefan pushed him around, looks like.
Yeah, it looks like Stefan just didn't necessarily get the memo about the checkup in front of him. I think really nowhere left for him to go. Just kind of forced to play ping pong there with the drivers in front.
Yeah, watch Hassler. I mean, he sees what's happening. He knows that gap is going to close because the 2 aren't aware. In fact, they did go 3 wide in front of him, so it would have been 4 wide. He made the right decision. It's just, like you said, those behind him just didn't seem fully aware of what was unfolding. Let's watch from his perspective. This is a little bit higher than he can see, let's remember. Yeah, I saw the checkup, but he didn't. You talked about how heavy these cars are. It probably would have been either send the car into a spin by slamming on the brakes or let what happened happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these cars, there's a lot of rear brake preference, rear brake shift in the cars. So it's kind of a situation where you get yourself into a position where there's no real good way to go when you try to slam on the brakes. The brake bias is so far set towards the rear that it'll just naturally spin if you try to slam on the brakes too hard.
Theoretically, we have about 15 minutes left before official sunset here, and 61 laps to go. So I think we are going to be going into past sunset, but obviously we'll have just a little bit of light left over for the drivers. It all depends on if we can keep this going green as long as we can, and fans will have to get their flashlights out to get back to their cars.
Yeah, exactly. And Joe, I think I can't speak for you, but I've certainly been a part of races like this that have happened like that, where you do have to kind of make your way on back under the cover of darkness every once in a while. Not the worst thing in the world on a good night of racing such as this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been to some endurance races where that is the case. So, but this isn't Le Mans, and these drivers do not have headlights on them. Make your cars joke in here at your will, and then we'll see if we get restarted here with some more green flag racing, because we've got double file. Cryer next to Mueller with Sylvia in there. What about Spatz? When did he get this high up? He is now up into 4th position.
He's just been slowly but surely working his way up forward here at this point, and I kind of love to see it here from Timmy Spatz. I mean, it's just a good run for him to be able to find himself in a spot like this, to be able to be a contender.
All right, getting ready for the restart. Down to the green flag. There's the jump by the 66. Good jump by both him and Sylvia. Sylvia gets to the inside much farther alongside. He hasn't been able to make it work coming off there before. This time, though, a little bit better chances as it rages on down to 3.
Yeah, it's going to rage on here at this point. Mueller going to try to roll that speed up around the high side. Not sure if it's going to play. He's going to have the lead in for P2 when they come across the line. Well, let's see if anything's able to play it out. Mueller with a great exit there. Coming off of 2, he's got the spot.
Denies Sylvia once again behind him. The 24 has moved into 4th. That's Kyle Adams. He's overtaken Spatz, who's actually dropping like a rock now. He also got passed by Calabro, who at one point was upside down, is now into the top 5.
Yeah, good runs there from Calabro, good runs from a lot of these drivers who are just putting in order. We talked about Timmy Spatz a little bit earlier. He's now back to 7th, losing some positions here as Adams is under pressure now from Calabro.
Gets to the inside of him, but as we've seen, bottom line has been proving tough to try and get the pass done. He is going to have a little bit of better grip over Kyle Adams, and he's going to be able to get a nose ahead. Finishes the pass, move Dillon to 4th.
All right, moving up to 4th here at this point. Drivers continuing to try to work their way on through. We're going to take a look on board the front-facing camera now of Kyle Adams as he tries to be able to get that spot back from number 71.
Has to brake hard so that he doesn't get into the rear bumper of Dillon and give him the space that he needs. We hop on board with Jake Sylvia in 3rd. Jake almost feels like things just haven't been going his way, because he has seemed fast, but never at the right times. He's here once again within the top 3, DJ. Does he have the speed to challenge these two?
Well, let's see if he does. I mean, he's going to try to push here at this point. He's got a good run on Mueller at the moment. Let's see if that's going to be able to continue out to play here as they go. Let's see if he's going to be able to carry that momentum farther back in the field. This is Spatz going the wrong way in the order.
Oh my goodness. Remember he restarted this thing in 4th. He is down in 10th. Make that 11th. As underneath him, that is Langford trying to make the pass. No, excuse me, that wouldn't be for 11th. That's Langford's a lap down. So Langford doesn't want to fight this, but he wants to try and get his laps back because he is only a lap down.
Yeah, he's only a lap down here at this point. He's going to want to try to put himself into a position as much as possible to be able to get himself in a good run. Let's see if he's able to do that here at this point. I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to get. I mean, he's going to be hoping for it, though, I'll tell you that.
Well, pull up another chair for Christmas dinner, because look who is coming. It is Evan Hassler fighting tooth and nail with Kyle Adams. Adams as he beats and bangs on him twice through the lap. We'll get a third hit in there. Down on the bottom, Charlie Bates is going to be able to insert himself and get by the sliding 24 of Kyle Adams. He gets a 2 for 1.
Nice move there for him, and that's what happens when you run into a little bit of trouble here at this point. A very, very heads-up play.
Yet more contact between Evan and Kyle. They'll get away with it, and finally they're separated by 2 other cars as Lugo Vickery and Pileski separate them almost like a referee.
Yeah, just trying to get in the middle of it. Lugo Vickery, that's a name we haven't called for a large portion of this race, though. He now finds himself back up into a top 10 position. Big slide in front there for Pileski. That could open up the door here for Tyler.
Hassler is not giving anybody anything now. He chopped off across the bow of Pileski. Thankfully, nobody spun from that one, but I gotta imagine James probably a little hot under the collar after that move.
Yeah, he's not going to be too pleased about that. We are under 50 to go here, though, from North Wilkes as they continue to try to go. Lugo Vickery looking around the outside now of Pileski.
We're at an old school track, and the racing is starting to match it quite a bit here as tempers are rising and drivers are less willing to give each other the space that they need. 45 laps to go. Cryer leads the way ahead of Mueller and Sylvia, who we were riding on board with there for a brief while. Jake pressuring Tyler for second.
Yeah, trying to put some pressure on him here at this point. And it looks like here Mueller just not having the get up and go that he had earlier in the race. Joe, I wonder if your assessment's right. I wonder if Mueller's car maybe was set up for a little bit of a different condition during the day.
He has now got just a mirror full of the 88 coming down into turn 1, and don't look now. That's Dylan Calabro in behind them too. Almost able to get his nose underneath Jake. Couldn't get the overlap, but he's looking like he's trying to square up these corners to get the launch to do so. That's another good run, just not enough of a straightaway.
Yeah, just not enough to get it to play there at that point, but he's going to keep looking, keep digging, keep trying to find something, anything that he can here at this point to get that to come into the way that he wants it to. Let's see, though, if he's able to get anything here at this point. Still just that little bit behind.
And behind these 4 is Hassler, about 2 seconds back. He's got a huge gap to make up, but watch out for him. He, at times, has been the man to beat out here. Pileski on board with him sitting in 7th. That is Bates and Hassler directly in front of us.
Bates and Hassler directly in front. Pileski's kind of yo-yoed a little bit here in the order, but not the best run there for Bates. A very wide sweeping arc down through the corner. He's going to try to hold that out a little bit more here as they go. Looks like it's working out for him, though. I've got to give him credit.
Just a quick update. We've now lost Bradley Stefane, so only 16 cars still running on the track as it stands. Off onto the back stretch. Cryer now putting distance between himself and Tyler Mueller, but he's coming upon lap traffic. This is Robert Hill Jr.
This is Robert Hill Jr. that he's trying to fight with here as they go. Is that going to be anything? Is that going to be a problem? Is that going to get in the way here at this point? Let's wait and see. Not a whole lot of time there. Hill Jr. doesn't look like he wants to get out of the way.
He's going to hold his racing line, but he's also not fighting him. He allows our race leader by, and that now puts him 2 laps down, unfortunately. No, excuse me, he's 1 lap down, so he got waved around at some point that I had missed. So Robert Hill Jr., unfortunately, just going to have to patiently let these cars go, although again, forcing them slightly off the racing line. Jake Sylvia sneaks past, and now Dylan is going to try and do likewise.
Dylan's going to try to do likewise, see if he's able to get on by. Not sure if he's going to be able to get it to play, though, here at this moment. Indeed, he's just holding in behind on Sylvia right now. He's gotten by Robert Hill Jr., so that's a good thing, but he is dangerously close here on the back of Jake Sylvia.
Trying to remember what year it was. The 21 of Lugo Vickery is down in the grass, out of the firing line. Caution does not come out. He got there by actually having contact with James Pileski. And I wonder if this is not a caution because, again, you can see just how dim it is getting out there. I was about to say, just trying to remember what year it was the F1 went to Korea, and they just about ran out of sunlight.
Yeah, I can't remember that as well. I think it may have been when I moved to California, so that would have been 2013 on, potentially, but don't quote me on that.
That sounds like that might have been it. I was going to guess 2011, but as we come around the last corner, you could see how eager they are to try and get past some of these lapped vehicles. And this time it's going to be Keegan Bush who stays off to the side. That could create an excellent pick for some of these cars that are finding it difficult to get by.
Yeah, it very well could. If we find ourselves in a position to be able to take advantage of those slower lapped cars, you can just kind of dart down to the inside, make it work as much as possible. That's not a bad strategy for some of these drivers.
Dylan's still watching, still showing himself down to the inside, trying to see if he can shake Sylvia to make a mistake, to leave the door open enough for him to try and get a move done. Nothing doing yet. Sparks fly in the darkness now as Jake Sylvia slaps against the wall.
You gotta love to see a little bit of that. The sparks coming out here, part of the new damage models that are being brought out on iRacing as they go. Just waiting to see, though, what is gonna happen here as this battle is absolutely simmering up for P2.
It's a battle for the best of the rest with less than 30 laps to go. These three have all been at one time or another up towards the front of the field, but they have not been able to match Kendrick Cryer in the 66, who has left them behind by 1.2 seconds. A big blink from Dylan. That's disconcerting.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see on short track racing. They're off to the inside. That's going to be Dale Lekas Jr., a very banged up number 99. Oh, I tried to get out of the way there, but that's unfortunately Calabro is going to be held up a little bit by it.
Let's not forget, while Cryer is looking like he's going to claim $100, second place gets 50 and third place gets 25. These drivers still battling for cash prizes here at the front of the field. One of these three is going to be left outside in the cold.
Yeah, they certainly are, and that is not what they want to hear, rest assured, is they want to be able to walk away with this with the money. This is a cash prize race, and they all know it.
Oh, we get another caution. Oh, it's Hassler. Off to the side in turn one. Contact with a lapped car. Keegan Bush, it looks like.
And some damage there on the front of the number 38. This is a real shame for Hassler. He was having such a great race out here. As there you can see Keegan Bush in that number 27 up on the high side. Bush just trying to stay out of the way, makes contact with the wall, and it looks like just miscommunication coming down into turn one.
Yeah, I think that little bounce off the wall unfortunately did that one in. And we're going to watch from on board. Yeah, I mean, just practically came out of nowhere. He was minding his own business and just got sent into a spin in the meantime. Hopefully, we'll have just enough left in these last few laps, and let's cross our fingers that we can stay green, because the lights on the pace car are actually getting pretty bright now at this stage.
Yeah, they are. They're starting to be illuminating, not just in the normal sense of, well, being able to tell if it's caution or not, but actually illuminating the track a little bit.
This is definitely one of the more unusual situations, and through the magic of television, we can help our viewers see a little bit. This is definitely not going to do it justice as to what the drivers are seeing out there, although they could also try and change the gamma on their screens. I wouldn't want to try it in the middle of a race. You could maybe do it here under caution. But they do have methods of trying to get a little bit better visibility.
Yeah, they do, and that is something that drivers are able to get to play with here on the beauty of the iRacing service. But I got to agree with you, Joe. I wouldn't want to do that here live.
All right, let's get restarted here with 22 laps to go. Green flag is out. Is this it to the finish, or are we going to get another one before we wrap this one up? Can the drivers even see where they need to place the cars? No, they can't, because a little bit of contact sends more cars into one another. It's another big wreck. Robert Hill Jr., Pileski, and Becker.
Oh, multiple drivers involved in that, and I'm not sure if that was a result of the eyesight necessarily or what that was, but multiple drivers turned around here at this point, just finding themselves in a little bit of a bad position there. Let's see that. I think Pileski, this just looked like a scruffy restart, Joe, but this started with Pileski.
Yeah, tried to get aggressive 3 wide, and then it just kind of trickled backwards through the rest of the field. And I think, I was trying to see who that was. I think it was Robert Hill Jr. Pops his wheels up off the ground running into the accident late.
Yeah, and right on board here, you see just trying to go to the outside, up and over. Yeah, really nothing there Hill Jr. could do, unfortunately.
Just about flew into the catch fencing on that one. So we slow it down once more. Didn't even get through the first 2 corners on that last restart. And we're down to 11 cars left on the lead lap now. In fact, might be 10 because Hassler's having to pop in to get more repairs done. He's going to be able to get back out. This is what it actually looks like out there right now. This is what the drivers see. There's still visibility. You got to squint a little bit, though, at this stage.
Yeah, you got to kind of look a little bit harder at this point to try to be able to get everything to go. I think we should be okay with about 19, 18 laps to go. Not a whole lot left here at this point, but we'll have to see. It's not exactly optimal conditions for racing.
Race control has changed it to single file restarts. Hopefully that will help somewhat as they try and follow. No, there's not even brake lights on these cars, though, to really be able to try and follow. They might be able to see the kickback here as the backfire coming out of the exhaust as flames spit out somewhat, but that's not much you can go by. And yeah, there you go. There we saw on screen one of the examples of that.
Yeah, and that's, again, one of the great things here about the iRacing service is just that level of detail that they are able to provide and bring to it here. I'd love to be able to see those kind of things. And yeah, I think a good call here from Race Control, single file restarts, just try to get this to finish before everything goes pitch black.
I'm really hoping we don't have to rely on the 3 green-white checkers, too, because that, I mean, there's another, about 15 laps possible or something in total, just getting them regrouped and attempting the restart and then having to go back at it once again. So the drivers now come up behind the pace car. I think the lights should go out this time. We don't have the double file to go by. Yes, indeed, lights are out on the pace car, and we are ready to restart on lap 235.
All right, here we go. Back to it again. Can Cryer build out that lead that we saw him be able to hold on to so well earlier on in the race? What is going to happen here to the rest of this field? You don't have long to wait to find out, Joe.
It's the Rudolph 250. Does Cryer have enough of a light on the nose of that car that he can see to the end of this race? Green flag is out, and the 66 accelerates away down into turn 1. This time with a single file, it does look a lot more orderly.
Yeah, it looks a lot more orderly, but now we're going to get a little bit of side-by-side farther back in the field. That's going to be a little bit of the danger zone that I've got to be worrying about here at this point for all of them. Let's see what happens, though, for the rest of this field.
They're able to complete that lap. So down to only 15 to go at this stage. Cryer still leading the way on board with Jake Sylvia just up ahead, trying to see if he can keep up with the 66 in case he's got an opportunity. But Kendrick has had the measure of everybody late in this race.
Oh, it is so dark out there, Joe. They are so close to having some serious problems when it comes to actual visibility here. I would be so terrified as I was a driver trying to make a move.
Yeah, we keep dimming that just so everybody can see what they see. We get another yellow, though. That's going to slow it down once again. This time, Vickery involved in that one. And it looks like, I think, Tyler Mueller, one of our very fast drivers in this one. Linkus Jr. gets demolished on this one. So this starts out of 2 here.
Oh, a little bit of contact there with the number 33. That's going to start the incident. That's Langford, and then Mueller down to the inside. Oh, nowhere, nothing for him to do, unfortunately.
And I think there was a bit of a secondary accident afterwards. Pileski looks like he was involved in something. Oh, he got tipped around by Hassler, maybe. I wonder if they might have to park this. I know it's 12 to go, but it is going very, very dark. And an impressive primo slide there from Linkus Jr.
Yeah, very impressive indeed. Able to pull off a nice little grind up on the top of the wall.
It's not often I get to pull out skateboarding terms on my broadcast, but So this is Mueller's perspective. Yeah, the car that got loose next to him after two of them hit out of two, and from there, not much he can do. Gonna watch from on board one more time.
Oh, just a
massive hit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna restart, I think, with about 9 or 8 laps to go, somewhere around there. It's, I mean, even with the magic of television here, you can see how dark it's starting to get. And race control is, yeah, this is what the drivers see right now. Race control is saying we're going to try to go green to the finish. That's, this is going to be an interesting one. This is a first for me.
Yeah, I mean, I have called races into the nighttime. I have called races into the dark, but never an oval track like this without lights. The driver's got to be really cautious here, Joe. That's really the name of the game.
And absolutely no lights too. We should remind people there's not even anything outside the track that's giving off just a little bit of something as they fly down into turn 1. Cryer still leads ahead of Sylvia. 9 laps to go. I almost wonder if at this point they're just kind of following behind one another. I don't know how you pass in these conditions.
I don't think you can. I think you've got to just basically hold on and hope here at this point. I mean, we're not seeing a lot of aggressive overtaking. We're not seeing a lot of play back and forth between everybody. It is pretty much just single file all the way through the order here as they come to the line with 7 to go.
I'm seeing a little bit of looks here and there by, I think it's Bates on Calabro. It's even hard for me to tell who we're looking at times now at this stage, but the timing and scoring kind of helping out. We're on board with Calabro, who is still threatening Sylvia. This is for P2.
Yeah, this is for P2, and you can see the tentativeness for him coming off of the line. He doesn't want to push it. He doesn't want to make that run there and run the risk of ruining both of their races.
So as they come down into turn 3 once again, Cryer, a master, not even just with the light conditions, but also the speed. He's been running away, and even now, as everyone behind him is still quite literally feeling their way through the dark, he is dashing away.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to get himself out into the lead to prevent any sort of problems here. The darkness continuing to descend for these drivers. This is not what they want. Here is Calabro trying to work down to the inside, see if there's anything to play for, and just try to maybe get that move. And he's got to do it and pray.
Oh, but Dylan's got some competition from behind as well. Oh, they got to be careful here as they try to sort out who gets P2. Once again, it is going to be 3 cars to decide. Only 2 positions that pay out. Little bit of contact. The 71 gets turned around.
He gets turned around. Is he going to be able to keep himself sorted out? Yes, he is. They're going to be able to point the right direction, and we're back still under green. No,
there's
caution.
The caution. Wow. Okay, I thought that they were going to hold out on this one. 66 pulls up behind the pace car. I think we need another perspective of just how dark it is right now. It is almost pitch black out there. This is on board. This is what the drivers see. Yeah. I mean, it's just the dash lines. That's pretty much it. You can't even see where the wall is. You can just about make it out.
Yeah, it is not great. It is very, very treacherous out here. This is not what drivers want to see. This is not what they want to have to deal with. This is scary, scary conditions.
So this should put them into GWC territory. Again, they're supposed to have 3 attempts at it. I'm kind of amazed that they're still going. I thought that they would call the race here by the time that it got about this dark. But they're trying their best to finish it.
Yeah, they're going to try to finish it out here at this point. This is going to be very, very tricky. And I think, once again, Joe, you are going to see drivers doing everything they can do to just be careful. I would not be surprised if we don't see a move done at this point in the race.
So it's 11 drivers left on the lead lap. It is 16 of them still running, amazingly, in all this darkness. And yes, we're getting word that they are going to call the race. So it sounds like they're going to let them go back to green potentially. We're still getting word on how it is going to be handled. And Charlie Bates has come to a halt on pit entry. So not sure if he's had an issue or if he just decided he can't carry on this one. But so race control has confirmed, though, that the race is going to be ended due to visibility conditions.
Yeah, so the race will end prematurely here at this point, and I guess for fans of non-green white checker racing, this is how it would naturally finish, but we're just kind of waiting to see exactly how this is going to play itself out in terms of timing and scoring and what's going to happen with all of that.
So to get the official checkered flag, that they are looking at potentially just having the drivers hold conditions here once they go back to green. Pace car is peeling in while the green flag will come out. They are not going to accelerate. Pileski just hit the wall, though. I could barely see it. There's sparks there as he smashed to the inside. I think the car should be able to limp home. Oh, and they are getting some drivers that are having some issues now, unfortunately. So, but we can confirm that Cryer should be your winner, Sylvia second, and Calabro is in third. They'll do one more lap around to the finish line here.
Yeah, one more lap around here. This will be the the white flag, rather, so the next flag will officially end it, even under green-white checker conditions.
So a couple drivers might not be scored where they initially were on the restart. I'm not sure how race control will handle that, since they did want people to stay in order to the finish, but the top three are still where they were at the restart, thankfully. With Cryer somehow making his way to the checkered flag. There you can see now that 66 taking the win here in the Rudolph 250, somehow through the deep of night, almost appropriately with the race name.
Exactly. Through the deep of night, he is able to take victory here. A very, very good run for Kendrick Cryer. Got to give that 66 a lot of credit.
Wow, just amazing what he was able to withstand. He needs to be proud of himself on this one. He's going to try and burn it down. Not that they could see the smoke much, the crowd, as they try to get their way back into the parking lot. But he'll celebrate nonetheless as he takes home $100 for Christmas here today. That is the actual lighting conditions out on track right now.
Absolutely brutally dark here. Massive credit to Cryer for being able to keep up that lead and building it when he needed to, Joe. He knew he needed to be able to have that advantage when he played it, and he played it to perfection.
Going to take us to a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
Janice.
What's up, Doug? Hi, Cheryl. What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Welcome back to North Wilkesboro Speedway, where the Misfits Racing Series has had the Rudolph 250 end under darkness, and Kendrick Cryer comes away your winner. We'll read off the unofficial results here for you. Sylvia was second, and Dylan Calabro was third. Evan Hassler managed to make his way up to fourth, with Kenny Storks in fifth and Kendall Becker in P6. And it's Kyle Adams seventh, Tyler Mueller in eighth, and Tyler Lugo Vickery in ninth. Timmy Spatz rounds out your top 10.
In 11th, it was Dale Lekas Jr., followed by Steele Langford. James Pileski was 13th, Keegan Bush 14th, Pileski 13th, Keegan Bush 14th, then Charlie Bates 15th. Robert Hill Jr. came home in 16th, then Bradley Stefane. And these are drivers that had a little bit of trouble out on the day. Smith, Wilson, and Shell rounding out your top 20. Thomas Earlywine, your first DNF on the day, unfortunately there for him. So that is going to bring us right now into our podium interviews here, Joe.
With our winner taking home $100, Kendrick Cryer in the number 66. Kendrick, first of all, how did you manage to not only find that much speed at the end of the race, but in the darkness? You kept running away from people even though it was pitch black.
It was really dark, and the bad thing is my computer screen was really dark too, but all I saw at the end of that race was the outside fence and just barely the white dash lines, and I was kind of guessing it, and I guess they're pretty good towards the end.
We speculated on if saving your stuff was going to be the way to go, and while you did look like you were keeping up with the front of the field for much of the night, it felt like you didn't really become a major factor until the end. Were you holding on to the car until late in the race?
Yeah, I honestly kind of expected us to pit that second time, but we just kind of stayed out after going in one time, and I guess the car really wanted to handle after running probably 130 laps on the tires or something like that. But apparently, I wanted to handle really good late in the run, and I was saving a little bit. Well, not a little bit, but pretty much like half that run until the restarts with Evan. I just went for it, and I thought that was going to be the best time to try to get around him, knowing how hard it is to pass here, is to just stay side by side with them, and the outside gets more. So it was a really good race, though. I mean, ended pretty dark, but well, happy to come home $100 or $125 the back to front.
Oh, well, I mean, now that you got a Benjamin in your pocket, are you going to invest that in some headlights?
Well, the track should always be lit, so but, well, I'll figure it out.
Well, congratulations. It was impressive to see the speed that you showed today.
Thank you.
Kendrick Cryer in the 66, your winner, ahead of Jake Sylvia. DJ has caught up with him.
I have indeed been able to catch up with Jake Sylvia, our second place finisher here. And Jake, first and foremost, I want to talk to you about the end of that race. How did you keep it on the black stuff? And I recognize the black stuff was everywhere.
I don't know. That was not easy. I was really just trying to correlate with Calabro in third, to just not run me over. I'm glad that the race control did their job and called it back to the last restart, so that he didn't lose a spot off of darkness like that. That was definitely interesting. It's not the first time I've been in that situation, so I kind of knew what to expect. But it's a lot tougher here than it is at any other track I've had that problem at. So that was not easy at all.
It certainly wasn't. But talk to me about a little bit more of the race itself. I mean, you looked like you were just kind of biding your time through the majority of it. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, I was really trying my best to save my stuff early on. I had the plan to take 4 at 100. I did it right around there. It was not necessarily the best idea. I feel like I should have hit a little earlier, just because the competition yellow got moved from 125 to right around whatever the caution was at 100. I think it was like 96. So I do wish I hit the restart before so that I was able to get track position. But I messed up pretty early on. I threw it in there. Looked back at the replay afterwards, and it was all me. I just got in there hot. I don't know if I hit the ground. I don't know if I just, lost focus or what, but I slid up into the 51 car and hooked myself pretty good. Luckily, we had a fast repair. I think if we didn't have the fast repair, I wouldn't have made the move in the first place that early on, but I just felt, like I had a little bit to gamble with. So once that was gone, I still had 200 laps left with no fast repair. So it wasn't easy. I got caught up in a little bit more incidents, but it wasn't anything too crazy. You really just got to bide your time and kind of have faith in your setup and in the fact that you're going to be there at the end. I for a while there didn't think I was going to even be inside the top 5, so I'm definitely happy to be where I was at.
And we've got to be happy with that. And we want to thank you for running the podium logo on the TV panel and on the back of the car as well. But I also want to take a minute here and ask you very quickly, when it comes down to practicing for a race such as this, how do you kind of justify your time here a little bit in between this and the Misfit Touring Series, which we're going to see with tomorrow?
To be honest with you, I think I put in too much effort. I did a lot of practice laps. I focused a lot heavily on qualifying. And then we all were kind of throwing a curveball in the race session. The track temp was about 30 degrees hotter than we had seen all week in practice. And I was kind of expecting it to fall into like the mid 90s. So I kind of shot myself in the foot in qualifying. And then feature was the same thing. It didn't really make a difference. I feel like I still had a good car going in. I just ran too many laps and I spent too much time focusing on something that was kind of an unknown because we haven't been to a race like this. We haven't had any major events like this at a track that's this abrasive and without lights. So, with Nashville, you have the opportunity to race into the night. So everybody kind of knew what to expect there. I don't know. I'm kind of confident tomorrow, at least being able to run up there. Thompson's similar to this track. It's extremely one line and very, very hard to pass. I know, with the invert and everything like that, I don't try to play the invert. I go out there for poles and wins every single time on the track. So odds are, if I can lay down a good lap, I'm going to have some cars to pass tomorrow. So kind of just going to be another one like this where I hold back, try to keep the nose clean, wait on mistakes to happen so I can get myself into position and hopefully try to be back here tomorrow talking to you guys.
Well, we wish you all the luck in the world, Jake, and we will indeed see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, Joe, that was Jake Sylvia, your second place finisher.
Our second place finisher, and we have Dylan Calabro, our third place finisher here. Dylan, you were kind of a pinata out there. Are you surprised you managed to get back up onto the podium?
Well, yes and no. I was kind of hoping the race got called as soon as visibility and everybody started complaining, but you can't really do what one driver wants. So then I got hit once, and I think that was the final straw. So I'm kind of glad that the admins made the final decision to give me my spot back.
I can imagine the relief when they came on the radio for that call. Impressive drive back up through the field. Are we going to be seeing you tomorrow night as well at Thompson?
Well, I plan to make it. I got to work tomorrow, so if I can get home in time, I'll definitely be here. Seems like I start a streak every single time I race here. I've only raced twice, but both of those times I've been in an interview with you guys.
We'll keep an eye out for you, and considering how fast you look today, it's a good sign when we head to Thompson. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Dylan Calabro, number 71, finishing in third position out there today. So with that, we wrap things up, DJ. And, for all of my referencing to Rudolph in the opening of this one, it turned out to be perhaps the most appropriate theme we could have had.
Yeah, it certainly did. We needed somebody with a bright red light on the front of their car to be able to get us on through. But, Joe, even though we had the darkness descend on this North Wilkesboro track, it really is a credit to iRacing and everybody here that came on in. We had some great short track racing today and an absolutely fantastic time.
And the times are not up. Let's remember that tomorrow night we will be back at Thompson, as we said. That'll be Saturday, December 23rd, and that will be at 3 p.m. Central. A big thank you to the team today, Ryan, DJ, and Dougie. However, Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.